That's it. We are live. Today is the 19th of July, 2018. And on the panel, we have Astral, Patricia, Flat Earth Dude, and at the moment, special guest, James. James is going to talk about fear, how they make money out of our fear. And then in a little bit, I don't know, about 3/4 an hour, Stan and Roxanne and Richard, the beer guy, and Dave Marsh. He'll be joining a little bit later, but these people are joining. We're going to talk about reset. We've been reset talk. Anyway, evening everybody, and in the chat room. And hello, James.
Hello there.
Hi.
Hello, everybody.
Hello,
y'all all right?
Hey, Astral. Karen, thank you for having me.
Oh, always a pleasure having you on our hangout, Kenny. Thank you for being there. You're such a nice man.
Hi, Patricia.
Yeah, Patricia.
Hiya.
Yeah, people need to hear that you're there, Patricia.
Yeah, what have you been up to, Patricia?
Very not much, as usual.
Well,
she's had a restful day yesterday. She had a very busy day yesterday.
Chilling. Have you been doing some research, though?
I always do research.
Good girl. So I like to hear. Yeah.
Whether it's any good or not is a different matter, but yeah, I'm always researching something.
Anyway, it's nice to hear your voice on the hangout.
And thank you, Karen, and thank you everyone for being here as well. I'm looking forward to this. So
yeah, cool. It's going to be a good evening. So, James, update, please.
Hey, yeah. Now today it's going to be very interesting because I've built this trike thing, and it's looking really good. I've downloaded it from the universe, and I want to sell it today. And I've got this guy. He's my neighbour across the road, and he's keen on buying it because his friend sold one that he made for $40,000, and that's a picture of it there. Now I built that, right? It's a sport bike truck, and
it's a lot of work.
It's 300 hours just to build the chassis. Now I did that. I enjoy doing that. So I want to sell it right, and I want to take that money, and it's really underpriced for what it is, I think. So really, hopefully I'll sell it and go to Auckland, which is the capital city of, well, it's the main big city in New Zealand. So I say the capital there because it's like where all the national organisations are based. Okay, and so I'm going to go and tell them about this. Right, a new political party called the T-NIL, right? Now, T-NIL stands for the New Intellectual Landscape, because I have very sound evidence that the intellectual landscape that exists now is fraught with fraud and corruption because of this instance of anxiety. And it's actually complete rubbish, and so I've got a new flatmate here, and he's really he totally knows what I'm talking about. Now, the universe sent this person to live here, right? Because he's already very much at that side of the camp. He's not a worldly person. He's a spiritual person. And now, even though he's a middle-aged alcoholic, it's still very, very obvious. A very good human being, actually. And so I'm going to go up there and go about all these social services, like self-generated community services that are trying to better the lives of people who have this dysfunction, right? Now, for me, right, I think that there's a problem with function because of this format we're in, that we are able to, how are we able to express ourselves, right? And so if we remove this formatting from the communication, then people might be happier. And it's about having them, it's about making people, making people that are reactive, making them calm, and turning to drugs and things as a young person, that's being reactive. And but I've said on the radio, I've made 2 radio phone calls, and basically I've said to them that it's the baby boomers against everyone else. And this could be said because you look at the Trump reaction, right, to Trump's meeting with Putin, how the media have reacted to it. The media represent the baby boomer generation, and they're absolutely anti-Trump because it's heresy to their narrative. Okay, and that actually replicates, how anxiety reacts against things, right? And so there's all these instances of this theatre that's maintained according to this perspective. And that's why I say this thing that I've got, the revelation of the 8 laws, this exactly fits this situation of this group of people, which is the human race. It exactly fits that. The perspective of anxiety from someone who believes in courage, the perspective of anxiety from someone who has a siege mentality and views others with derision. Because I said to him, right, to the establishment, politics is a sport, but to the middle class, the silent majority, politics dictate quality of life. That's the perspectives of these 2 camps, and it's very much a case that the political system, we see it as it dictates quality of life. Okay, and this is why Brexit happened, because people want to do something substantial to fundamentally improve the quality of life. And so at the level of the political optic, Brexit, it immediately gives the impression that they've gained control because they have dictated the outcome. They have contributed to the situation, and they have got the outcome that they have contributed for. And of course, the people, the Remainers, okay, while Britain remained within the EU, the establishment in Britain had ingratiated itself in the political group of Europe. You know what I mean? And so they had become much more tight-knit, this establishment of Britain. And because I know it's one thing that they're doing that they're not actually, no one's actually said anything about, okay? That is Britain has retained its own currency. And so all this fluff about exiting, it's just bullshit, because that you've retained their own currency, ignoring them. I mean, what are you doing, eh? It's like, because you have the means to retain your own system. And
they always retained their own currency, even when they was members of the EU as well.
Yeah, so I don't know what all this drama is about when you can actually retain your own system.
Well, Denmark are the same. They're a member of the EU, and they have their own currency without they don't have the euro. I think they're the exceptions.
EU, it's nothing to do with money, really, then, is it? It's entirely political, which is, see, that's why I've got this thing here. The whole thing's actually, that means that it's really down to this relationship to anxiety. They dreamt up the EU because they thought they needed something. Now, people who don't have anxiety, we content, and we find we instinctively are able to figure out how to out of what we have, and that's how we have this balance in the middle class, where we can have a fantastic life, and we don't ever think of having millions of dollars, and so this is the situation. And so in New Zealand, this is very pronounced in New Zealand, because the media genuinely think it is it's a player in the political system. Genuinely thinks it's an equal to government. Okay, but it's how they're doing this. It's exactly like how anxiety thinks it's an equal to consciousness in the mind, and then it keeps talking over everyone, right? This is also mimicking anxiety as well. So if I've said, if you get a composite, you imagine what these people in Auckland think when I say this. You get a composite of the media where it's this constant stream of bad news that's been brought to your attention. This is like some kind of an inverted schizophrenia, okay, because they're always doing it, and it's like this voice in your head going off all the time, because none of it is according to what people usually think about, because people are usually about goodwill. The glass is half full. But the act that they produce with this constant narrative of bad news, it's just like, and so this is way out of step with how our courage functions, right? It's way out of step with how courage functions, and that the system has the optics it has is it's promoting anxiety as virtuous. So, like Carol, the talk was about fear, how they use fear to control society. Well, they do it by using the political optics that anxiety is virtuous. And so it's not a matter of fear as we think of fear. It's a matter of the actual mechanism of fear, which is anxiety, and they transmit this to people by way of political optics. And I think the thing is, when I go around the community up there with all these groups, there's a lot of groups up there, and we have the Maori here, the situation with Maori. There's a lot of groups with Maori. Maori have a high level of statistics in all sorts of directions because they don't feel they're part of this system, the civilization. They have their own culture, and it's very distinctive. That they don't engage with the system, with the of civilization we have, the mainstream civilization, and so they have a lot of difficulties, and so I'm going to go to them because I think it's all about articulating how you feel, and because they can't articulate how they feel because of the revelations of the 8 laws, they not only can't talk to people outside their group very well, it's actually politically correct to not talk to people outside the group. It's politically correct to us, okay, or not not ask for help, to put on that brave face of aggression, manning up and being all staunch, and they go that way rather than admit they're very, very exhausted emotionally, right? And so to go up there to give them something that gives them the means to articulate how they feel is going to be the most massive game changer, because it will stop all that belief system. And because that belief system inherently uses anxiety as virtuous, right? They keep doing that. And there's all the secret society rules where there's all this peer pressure about people stepping to the politically correct line of this narrative that they have, right? And so there's some evidence right there, because that's how this group functions, right? So there's some evidence there how they are acting exactly like these baby boomer people, because the baby boomers do it exactly. It's an exact copy. It's an exact copy, and the baby boomers are doing exactly the same thing as the Maoris are. And so the thing is, there, the political optics of that to me is that they're acting outside the group of the whole to make this distinction that they make, and so with a singular memorandum of understanding, a singular memorandum of understanding, it will put everyone in the same page, and because that's never existed before. This discovery has never done that. By having this memorandum of understanding about language, it enables all these different groups of society to become part of one group, actually, and have the same understanding of language, because that's the thing about it. Everyone's operating with a different understanding of language. See, the baby boomers take full advantage of that with their legal system. They make it way too complicated for any normal people to understand. And they've had that even on the news here, having definitions and so forth so complicated that even university students can't kind of work it out very well. And so they do this. It's like the EU, you know, there's like, I heard something like, when you wake up in the morning and go out to go to work and you do your normal thing, have a coffee in the toilet, blah, 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 you're actually going past 1,200 regulations between getting out of bed and leaving your front door, go to work. You're going past 1,200 regulations. So creating all those regulations also, that amounts to the same.
That's a lot of regulations.
That's true. It's like
before you even step out the door. That's crazy. And, anyway.
So the thing of fear, Karen, as you put it, that's a very valid statement, but it's transmogrified to where
anyone there?
James has frozen.
Oh, is it James? Okay.
Just as he was getting in. I thought the whole hangout had frozen then. I was speaking. I forgot I'd muted myself. I thought, oh my goodness, what's happened? The hangout's gone. I was muted because I've got a helicopter flying around out there.
I thought actually that my brain had actually totally fried up then with all that information you'd just given us. I was like totally lost.
Yeah, we could have stopped and had a half-an-hour conversation on a few of those points he was bringing up.
I think with James's stuff, it's probably better if he goes for like 3/4 to an hour, because there's a lot to take in.
It really is. It's a lot to take in. But
he's a very clever bloke, and
at a nice pace. He's not too fast. It's really.
Can you hear us, James?
Oh, he has to reset. But no, he's great. I mean, he's doing the work. He's putting in the time, and he's sharing it with us. He's sharing all of his time with us, everything he's learning, and that's what this, format and this is why we do this, get together like this, is to share this, all of our informations, and it's just great.
Yeah, and James loves doing that.
Yeah, and he needs to get his message out like everybody does. It's just it's a great thing that we all share this together.
Shall I read out that message that I read to you earlier on, what he feels, and then you can just see how deep it all.
Till he comes back, that'd be a good idea.
Yeah, this is what James. He's very articulate, guys. Anyway, but basically he understands that there's. I'll read you his message. He wants to move. This is why he's selling the bike. He said it'll cost a bit of money, so that's what he wants to do. And then he wants to go and see as many people as he can. The public, that is trying to make life better for people, will really love the revelation of the 8 laws. It makes anxiety a tangible thing. This is what's missing. A person has anxieties and tries to talk about that, but the world been promoting anxiety as wisdom when they try to explain what it is. The discovery will stop that. Instead of using anxiety to explain anxiety, now we can use consciousness to explain anxiety, because I found a way to separate the two. Game changer. Massively different result now possible. I'm going to see how massive that change can be. When the media knows that the people know this, and the result it will get, the people, media will fall into line with that, because the media are people too. It's the human mind, and everyone on earth has consciousness. We will see that everyone will be well before, because of this. Anxiety, as the world has known it, will disappear from the earth, and the aristocracy will have to acknowledge it. They have minds as well. But that's how James messages me.
That's great. I mean, it is something we're striving for that. We are striving for that.
We've lost James, but Joey wants to come on, so I'm just sending Joey the link now, so Joey can come on. So yeah, he's in the chat room. You've got the link now, Joey. But yeah, he's a very clever man. He's very articulate. So yeah, deep as an ocean.
The television is quite the programming tool, and it definitely brings a lot of anxiety to everybody's life with all the news every day. And most people watch the television on this great plane of ours, unfortunately. More people need to get outside and look around and get involved in your communities. And this place would be much better if we just did that alone. But we need to get to another level of consciousness. He's right. And a mass awakening would help.
Yeah, it would. And then it means something. But, you know, I tried to again tell my son today, my youngest son, just not interested. Not at all. It means nothing to him.
Oh, boy.
Yeah.
Joey! All right. James is back.
No.
James is back. Yes.
Sorry.
Can you hear us, James? What happened there?
Yes. Just did it up. On things that aren't ancient. Yes, I'm sorry. Apologies for that.
That's okay. Can't be helped.
Yeah, it can be helped. It can be, you know, spend money. So I'm sorry. Yeah, I bailed out. What are we talking about?
Well, you were really going for it there. Joey came on, and we've lost Joey for the moment. But anyway.
Now, my point is this about the thing, about the trip, is that, yeah, I'm outside the jurisdiction of anxiety. So I notice a lot of different stuff than people who are inside the jurisdiction of anxiety. And that's the importance of this discovery about language, because the means to articulate is everything. And so I've noticed there's all these groups, they use language differently. And so at the moment you've got all over the place, like the Senate hearings in the US with the FBI, and then you've got the reaction to the Trump thing. It's the same obstructionism, which is like when someone at home wants to argue about something they don't want to do. And so there's this thing about language. People use language as a means to keep themselves away from other people. And so with this discovery of language that I can take there, that's conclusive evidence, groups that use the same language, that use the same rules of this, with anxiety there, and how anxiety actually governs language, right? You've got the rules of that. Well, these groups are using these rules according to the aspirations of their groups. So the baby boomers want to stay in power. Wants political credibility, and so they all use these rules to achieve that. And so this discovery will because all these people, they all want solutions to their problems. They're all moaning every day how they're broken assed and they can't do it, and it's too hard. And actually, they secretly don't want to change anything because they've found these really cool ways of treating water. And so they're keeping up this theatre of these big problems, and it's like, oh, but actually, anytime you hear someone in the media say it's complicated, Well, what they're actually saying is, well, there's things about it I'm not going to admit to like it like that. That's why it's complicated. And this is a business of language, man. And so to clarify, to finish, here's the thing, right? I've discovered anxiety, right, is culture shocked into existence by the event of birth. Now, what does the child think? What does not possess language think when the baby does not possess language? I think the baby uses political optics to think. And so this is what this is how I think their mind actually functions. It retains information in a political optics kind of way. So with this culture shock event, it seems to be a big deal. Baby watches people, man, listens to people, man. You know, how does advertising sound to a baby that does not possess language? You know, this is the thing of it. While, you know, the baby's just sitting there and lying there and just the brain's going for it, man. And, you know, and so when we begin to speak, that's when anxiety becomes a political entity. The process is doing, okay? And so, because we you know, the process is here, consciousness, right? And anxiety takes over consciousness because of the culture shock event of birth. And then we instinctively start, when we begin to speak, we instinctively conceptualize the process according to the means to express, which is language. And so then we get the first two laws of anxiety, right? Which is the political optics side of it. You must conceal your anxieties and you must allow all others to conceal their anxieties. Okay, and so that influences language, and so our language is actually based on our relationship to anxiety, and that has had that's had the big influence. We have the civilization with these giant lies in it, because that's according to anxiety. Anxiety likes this, have people believe in the lies because it's the theatre it uses to conceal itself. You know, and this has gone so far beyond the actual event. It's just a habit now that people do that. They have to act a theatre to make it look like they're doing well and so forth, and so that's a significant point. This has really just become a habit for the world because the system we grow up in, this hand of cards we get, as I say, when we're children, when we grow up. And you know, we all just start playing along with the system because there's lots of the goodness of consciousness and the middle class, and there's lots of the goodness of relationships around. So and that being the case, this thing's all kind of been forgotten, you know, and so that's just part of the dynamic, because this is actually the human race and Earth. It's the most unique thing in the universe, as far as I'm concerned. How we're here, and this is happening. There's no precedent to judge by. This up on our own as we go, and so that's how all this is playing out, I think. And but yeah, as per I was saying, most significantly, this thing of language where these groups use different language. They use the same rules, and it enables them to use language differently. And we think because they're rich people and they're poor people, and you know, we think that they're completely different situations, but actually they're not. It's just a different format. They're actually using the same rules, and they're still using language. Because that was the first thing that brought me into this, is that is the uniform, singular commonality of all things: problems, not problems, knowledge, all these things in people. The singular commonality is language. You know, so I have achieved, you know, figuring out this thing that anxiety is actually doing, how it actually exists, and how it actually has control of the development of civilization. Because it has the belief in anxiety is virtuous, it has control of the language of the people in charge, that are in charge. They think they represent the people, but they invariably always act like they represent themselves. And that's because of this unwritten rule that different groups are allowed to act independently. See, this is why the world hates Trump. It's because he's acting according to the middle class, and they totally hate it. It's heresy. It's heresy to the political. It's heresy to the deity anxiety.
The reason why the world is hating Trump is because the mainstream media is controlled by we know who, and it's all propaganda. Don't believe the fucking TV, man. How can you do that?
Can I just say after that, Astral, hello, Joey. Joey's just joined us. Hi, Joey.
Yeah, hi, Joey. Hi, Joey.
Yeah, James, that's a lie as well.
Well, I think the lie is this. The lie is the face value perspective. I think none of the face value is actually the true meaning and the true driver of the situation. And that's why I say I come back to the fact that really it's about how consciousness has been hijacked by anxiety, and it's this freak accident of the event where the event of birth culture shocks anxiety into existence. And if this is all extrapolated out from that, right? And that's my point. But the thing of language, to give everybody the same, to trick everyone into using the same language, because you know what? These poor people and their problems, they've got the same obstinance as rich people. They are as unwilling as each other in listening. Neither of them think they need to, neither of them value education. Both sides actually want to keep things the same way. If you gave a poor person $10,000, they would invariably spend it on all sorts of nice emotional crutches, and then they would have run out of money. Right? And so, you know, the rich person would gain $10,000 and it would just massage his ego. So neither side value education, right? Neither side value education, and the middle class actually act completely differently, and we have a lot of empathy for others, which is why we have society and social services and things. While we have volunteer fire brigades, you know, society's full of it. We play sports. We love to see sports, you know. And so actually the middle class are paying for rich people and poor people. And so, and this is a product. See, the fact that these groups use different language, this is enabling them to identify themselves as different groups or act as different groups.
Okay, brother,
it's totally why politicians think that they are very cool playing the sport of politics. It's because they're allowed, they think conventional wisdom allows them to act as a separate group because they're fighting the good fight. And so this is, again, what's happening today, this is not what's going on. What's going on today is the extrapolated out consequence of this conventional wisdom that started out, you know, millennia ago. This was put in place millennia ago. And so I believe though that it's the event, well, the culture shock event of birth, right? Baby doesn't possess language, and it starts to speak, and invariably sees the world in a political way because of that culture shock event of birth, right? So if we separate the actual human being from the event, well, we've got consciousness, okay? But all things in history have extrapolated out really according to that initial event. And so that this dynamicity has been identified, we can now be objective about it. You know what I mean? And that way we can design an understanding of who we are, because not only have I proved that the world believes that anxiety is virtuous, and I've proved consciousness exists, right? That's what the proof. This is irrefutable proof that anxiety is a political entity, and it totally mostly exists in the affirmative, where people think it's good.
Was that you, James?
Yeah.
Was that you?
It's me, Astral.
That had proved that consciousness exists.
Yeah.
Was it you that found that out?
I did that, man.
Nice one.
Nice one, mate. Yeah. Fucking nice one, all right. Because the world's functioning according to the belief that anxiety is virtuous. Now, thing of language, issue of language, man. When a person believes that anxiety is virtuous, it evaporates the concept of wisdom. But when a person believes that anxiety is virtuous, it also evaporates the concept of anxiety. Okay, so in this language we have with all these smarty pants people, they're all making that mistake. They're all making that mistake. So this is why there can be billions of man hours spent figuring out the human condition, mental health issues, social problems, and none of it's come to anything because everything's getting worse.
I do understand what you're saying there, James.
Thank you. That's good. I'm very happy to hear.
Video I put out yesterday myself. You've just explained it all. But anyway, carry on, James. James, probably another 5 or 10 minutes. Joey's come on to say something as well. But what it is when you left for a couple of seconds, it was like, whoa, because there's a lot to take on. So sometimes it's better to have shorter bursts of it.
I just came on to listen to this wonderful show. I'm learning right now. I'm loving it. Thank you, brother. I never met you before, but my ears are ringing with knowledge. So I'm smoking some cannabis and learning at the same time.
I've got something to say. It's a crazy thing, right? Here's the fucking truth of it, right? This is fucking mad as fuck because this is the biggest discovery ever made about fucking the human being, what the fuck he's doing. But it's actually something everyone already is 100% fluent in, because this is how conventional wisdom has become complicit in maintaining this lie system, right? It's because we all have that same event, and this is just the reality. This is just the situation with this incredibly unique situation we're in, where consciousness finds itself in the physical realm. There's this massive freak accident when that happens, because it's like a baby being born into a place where there's no people, and the baby's got to raise itself, right? Effectively, that's what the human race is. We've all come along and we've started out in a way which is like the baby is born and has to raise itself. Well, our whole civilization is developed like that because we think, they imagine God's there and all that. So we've come along in ignorance of this thing about us, and it's the belief in it, how it seems like consciousness doesn't exist. So now that there's conclusive that anxiety has control of language, right? And we can now actually separate the two. Instead of anxiety acting as consciousness, we now have anxiety from consciousness. Because I perceive anxiety as a political entity, which I have outlined, comprised of 8 laws. You can figuratively hold it in your hand and look at it. Okay? And that means you have separated it from yourself. You figuratively separated it from your consciousness. So you can be objective there about anxiety and the way it works and the actual hold on language that it has. You can then separate it from yourself, and then you can actually have honest thinking, right? According to the objectivity. So I'm rather proud of this achievement. Yeah, I'm really stoked actually. Going into the big city, and I don't see any reason why not. Based on everyone about this.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay, you're back now.
Yeah, cool. Anyway, that's a great start. That's what I've got to say. It's from up to. It's actually full on. I'm a one-man army that's picked World War III, right, with the whole world, because actually the world's problem is that they believe that anxiety is virtuous. Okay, it's not about how much money you need to get along and pay the, have a bit left over to have a good life. It's not about that in this world. It's about having as much money as you can. And mostly they're unable to fucking compete. We're not able to take part in that. Okay,
No,
so that's
we're not.
what the situation has got. And so with a memorandum of understanding to force people to use the same language, we can have change happen because we have objectivity and we have a vehicle for that objectivity. We have something material and relevant to everyone that we can base our discussion on. It's tangible. So making anxiety, something else is happening in this, it's identifying all this, it's made anxiety tangible. Because if you've noticed probably that it's incredibly impossible to think of what anxiety is. It's impossible to talk to someone about their anxieties while people respect these rules of anxiety that are expressed with language, right? The rules in language on the behest of anxiety that everyone respects. It's impossible to talk to people about anxiety with those rules there. Because it's like the most genius criminal friggin' thing on how it protects itself. It controls people and it protects itself. It's the geniusest criminal thing ever.
It's spellcraft. It's the language craft.
That's a wicked thing, man. I tell you what. And this is like, this is what we're the most amazing things in the universe, life forms, because we have this mind-bogglingly amazing dynamic experience, and we have the thing where we're consciousness, so we're the most supreme being because we're the ultimate vehicle of the expression of consciousness, and we have this friggin' anxiety hijacked us, and that's the most. This is mostly the most worthy of a movie I've ever seen. It's the most ultimate science fiction ever. Take the amazingness of consciousness, and it gets hijacked by anxiety, and it takes over a whole civilization. Far out. This is totally out of Star Trek.
Well, we have to get rid of it. It has to go.
Well, that's my purpose.
Sounds a little bit like that story, the good against evil.
Of course it is.
Basically.
Well, what do you think conceptualizing? What do you think conceptualizing two sides?
Could it be something? I always like to get to the root of stuff and see if there's like a simple way to explain it. Do you think it could be a lack of confidence in a really positive way? Just completely being okay with yourself and confident is actually what anxiety is, like an earthquake is or like thunder is a side effect of lightning. Could it be that we just need to all be loving ourselves?
You want a minimum reducible argument. What you just said is getting retracted. Consciousness experience. I asked a question, right? Did you get told as a little kid that you only use 10% of your brain?
No, I got told 12%.
I was told that. I know better now, though. But yeah, I was told that, and it worked because the placebo effect works.
Right, yeah, huh? Well, the 8 laws of anxiety, okay, the 8 laws of anxiety as a political entity, right? This forces a massive retraction of consciousness because consciousness has to exist within the framework of those rules. And that is why we only use 10% of our brain. These rules make us think we use 10% of our brain.
Again, we don't know if even that's true. They've told us we only use our brain.
How many percent are you using now then, James, now that you've...
Because I'm outside the jurisdiction of anxiety, because I have able to figuratively hold anxiety in my hand and look at it. And I can see the mechanism.
So you're limitless now.
This is true. And that's right. And that's why I've got my new video, which I wanted to upload, but I can't find a video editor. we've got this condition I've termed as spiritual agoraphobia. Spiritual agoraphobia, because when people become aware of the 8 laws and they start physically, figuratively holding anxiety in their hand and looking at it, are objective about anxiety, they go from this spiritual experience of inside this, that these rules allow, right, to being out in this limitless expanse. And this is a spiritual experience. And so that's why I've termed the phrase
Astral, mute yourself.
And so yeah, there
marshmallow.
The thing is that it's not that there's an elephant in the living room. It's that we are living inside this elephant. Okay, so to come outside of the elephant, spiritually, because they're actually the same thing, I think, emotional and the spiritual. I think they're the same thing, man. They're just in a different format. Ha ha ha. So yeah, the experience that can exist, that can happen when you go from inside the elephant to outside the elephant. It's like spiritual agoraphobia, which is a culture shock thing, right? You find you're in this limitless area, and so that's what I'm saying. So outside in the limitless area, that language it's possible to have very, very different use of language than inside it, and so that's the situation with that, man. It's like, so really, language being language is the articulation of what consciousness is doing, the mind. and so that's what's going on there. And so we have the thing, I've coined more phrases, more language has been produced from this event that I'm outside the jurisdiction of anxiety. Okay, in the jurisdiction of the 8 laws, okay, you have this specific finite equation, right, of an algorithm, right? Okay, and so this is how they are able to conceptualize God, okay, as a singular endpoint, a singular conclusion, right? Because their equation is finite, okay, and it's because of the actual nature of the the person that believes in this jurisdiction of anxiety and the finite equation. Okay, you have static cognition because you don't need to have, you've got this finite equation you're basing your whole brain on, right? Your whole belief system, your worldview, your spirituality, your perception of relationships, it's all according to this finite equation, right? Okay, but outside the jurisdiction of anxiety, you will experience fluid cognition, because there's limitless. There's no end to the dynamices of the equation, okay? And so there's limitless possibilities and answers and everything. And so my political party's got a whole lot of different conversation to have than what's normally going on, I tell you what. And so yeah, you've got finite, you've got the static cognition, and you've got the fluid cognition, okay? So we can see from the language that groups use that this is actually what's going on. We can see that some groups have this really specific system of law, okay? And then we've got groups that are, they express themselves outwardly by welcoming people, by, people are prepared to volunteer, and it's like, so you see the two camps of different kind of way of life. And so if we go back into the language thing, we can see there that behind the language, the use of language, we have static cognition or fluid cognition. And this is indicative of being inside the elephant or outside the elephant, inside a restricted, 90% restricted algorithm of political laws that are generated to protect anxiety, or we've got outside the jurisdiction where there is limitless dynamices and there ain't no laws for language, okay? There is the natural instinct, The Ten Commandments are being ripped off from the natural instincts of the spirituality of Caucasians, right? We think it's nice to be nice to people. We look after young people. We look after anyone. We will stop and help someone if they need help. We will be generous. We will value education. We will value creativity, because creativity is our spirituality, you know. And this world with its rules of language and how it's turned out, how the political system's turned out because of that, you know, the event in the mind of anxiety overruling courage all the time, to the point where the little baby that does not possess language has to embrace Stockholm syndrome to exist with the group. That's what babies do. That's what every human being has ever done, actually, I believe. Embrace Stockholm syndrome to be part of the group, to get along with the group. And because under these circumstances, it is invariably a case where the person expressing the most anxieties sets the emotional tone in the place that they are in this group, and that is a family, right? And so this is the actual, I'm making an observation of why these things exist like that. And so that now we can be objective. Now there's language that exists to support consciousness, to support the assertion of consciousness, and that anxiety is a giant lie, and anxiety's hijacked consciousness, and all of the control and power anxiety has over people in society actually is because of the cognitive power of consciousness, right? And so this is a major kind of a thing, because this mathematically proves that is exactly the case. And how we've got the language there, we've got the behavior of groups, we've got the language they use, we've got the different belief systems, and then we've got the reason why the language they use is like it is. And actually it's the case that the situation is playing out like that. It's because of the language they use. The language they use dictated the political landscape. And so I'm having a wonderful time with this, you know. So that's what I'm taking to Auckland anyway. That's what I'm taking to Auckland. You know, I've decided to say, right, that actually it's the media that is the government. It's just like in their household. He who expresses the most anxiety actually sets the media are doing to society. Okay, so you see how all these things are actually linked, because you've got the household there and a family, and then you get the media actually expressing exactly the same behaviour, and they're using actually the same language. Really,
I have to say, James, in our chat room, right? Because obviously, you know, this is a flat Earth group. I wouldn't say that maybe people would have put it in the words you've said, but a lot of people in the chat room will have understood exactly what you said. But then maybe it's because you've worded it in a different way. That's what it is. You're talking to people who understand what you're talking about here.
Yeah. No, well, that's the thing. Everyone can understand the political landscape with language, and that's why it's not. See, with people, here's another aspect that fits, man. It's not an external thing. See, it's not. People go around blaming external things for their problems, but actually, you know what? They have the win. Everyone has the win because they exist and they have consciousness. That's the win. Highest experience in the universe by doing that, right? And so,
can I just stop? You've been going for like nearly an hour, right? Just Joey, what do you think about what James is saying?
I think he's a brilliant man. I've been pretty much hanging out over here listening to everything you have to say, brother. I've never met you yet, but first of all, I appreciate you coming out with your truths, brother, and spreading them like that. And it's really actually it's very deep what you were saying, so it's very poetic / you know, I'm listening to it. My observation, because we all have our own, my observation is I haven't really come to one too much yet, but I believe a lot in what Tesla said, something like this: our brains are just an organ. That's all they are. And we think that it's like that's where we think from, but that's just an organ that does what our heart and our stomach tell it to. Our gut is our intuition, and our heart is our thinker. And Tesla said that the all-knowing ether, or what we call air, has everything that there ever was and will be, and we act as only simply antenna. So it's being in tune and in touch. So I feel like my own personal journey brought me to thinking that it's just about, not in a bad way, but about confidence in yourself, love of yourself, and believing in fellow humankind and stuff like that. I think it's a disassociation from what the powers that shouldn't be did to us by television, media, etc., etc. But if left alone, Ubuntu style, you know, we'd all be free. But I think it's a lack of confidence, not in a bad way, in a really beautiful way, so we absolutely love our naked selves, our pimples, our moles, every single thing like that, you know. So I think it's kind of like what Tesla said. The mind is really an organ, and the all-knowingness has always been there. We're just antennas, so we have to tune into it with love, meditation, nutrition, all that.
If I can say, your aspiration is to express. Your aspiration is actually to channel consciousness, because these are all the things consciousness is. You know, I heard an interesting thing about Tesla. He never put down on paper any of his designs. He seems to have been able to make them up as he went along, you know, without any kind of, you know, he already had it all in his mind. And that's a totally true thing, what you're saying. This is why people can have this whole relationship with work or something, and they can be extremely proficient at this job and be really amazing, like God level workers, like videos on YouTube. They're ultimate people. But you stop them and get them to tell you how they do that, they will just be because that information is not contained in language. You know, it's actually the expression of consciousness.
You're a flat earther, correct?
Well, I am from my angle, where I'm coming from. I totally am.
Everybody is a different angle, but you're a flat earther, right?
I think for James, he's not so worried about what shape we are. He's more concerned about the line, about...
one thing, though, Karen, is a flat earther does not mean you think the earth is flat. A flat earther is somebody who joins a community of people who are against NASA, vaccines, and stuff like that. That's what I'm asking. Sorry about that. I'm not really concerned with, like, what shape. You know that NASA's lying. I know that. But are you like...
That's Joey. Sorry to interrupt you, brother. That's your opinion, because I, as a flat earther, believe the earth is flat. I believe the earth is stationary and it's not moving. That's my own belief. That's me personally, you know. That's my take on being a flat earther.
I think what he means is it's bigger than that. It's us, the people, as a community, united, come together, consciousness. I think that's what Joey means. It means it more like that. But can I just say that Rich, the beer guy, has joined us, and Stan Smith has joined us.
Hi.
Hey,
Stan!
Hello.
My darling. Rich. Say hello, Rich.
Hello, people.
Hello, my darling.
Aloha, Rich.
Hey, Stan, just to say who's on here. We had James. James is the bald-headed New Zealand guy sitting there. He's talking about basically they're making money out of our fear, and that we think we're being virtuous when we're saying things, but we're not, because we've mistaken what wisdom is by being basically narcissist. And yeah, we've mixed it up and not understood. So he feels that he wants to go political with it, and he wants to take it to the education. That's where James wants to go, in New Zealand. So that's James. We've got Flat Earth Dude on the end. I think he's just popped off for a little bit. We have Joey Rocha from Hawaii. Obviously, our Patricia, Astral. You know Rich Beer Guy, don't you? And, of course, you, Stan Smith.
Well, hi, everyone.
Hello, how have you been, then?
Yeah, I'm still here.
Yeah, just to explain to the people on the panel, Stan takes amazing footage. He obviously has a picture of a moon. He likes using his 360 camera, and he has one on his roof, He probably has one in other place now, and he uses his P900 and he takes many pictures. And love your work, Stan.
Cheers. Thank you, Karen.
As you know, I do. And Rich is a part of Sun and Moon, comes on, don't you, Rich? And I've met Rich. I've met Rich a few times now.
The beer guy. Cheers, mate.
The big guy. He's more into sovereignty, you know, the laws of the land and getting round these horrible laws we have. We've had James talking about fear and anxiety, but obviously we're just waiting really for Roxanne, and Dave Marsh is going to be finished work soon, so he'll join when he finishes work. But the talk now is going to talk about onto reset, being a reset, and it was Stan's idea, this part. So Stan, do you want to explain a bit more?
Well, yeah, it's like we talk to people, tell them stuff, explain things to them. They seem to have a good understanding of things. The next day or a week later, it's like you didn't have that conversation. It did not take place. It's as if just, you know, certain people, you can speak to them and they remember everything that was said, but others, it's just like they're lost in the matrix, you know. It's just a complete reset. You didn't have that conversation, nothing took place, and it's like a big loop. There's a loop in everything. You know, there's people are looping.
Have you seen the film Dark City?
I probably have, but what's it? I'll take it that's a looping film.
Yeah, like it came out before The Matrix, and like every night they put everyone to sleep, and then they like reset the whole life, and then they all wake back up, and they're like, "Oh, this is my life."
Yeah, I've seen that.
Yeah. It ends up with like a flat Earth thing at the end. I thought it quite...
yeah, that was quite interesting. It was aliens that were doing it on an asteroid.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, that was quite buzzy, all right.
Yeah, but there's a lot of films like it. Groundhog Day, you know, that's another good one.
Yeah. If I may say, it's like these are all trying to articulate how we actually feel, but we can't. We're not allowed to because of the language. And that's the thing I've discovered. If I can say about this reset, like I've got my Teen party thing here, and it's because of this discovery that about anxiety and how anxiety controls language. And my point I'd make is that we don't think with words. We instinctively conceptualize the process according to the means to express. And anxiety has complete dominance over language, right? So if we can change how anxiety controls language,
hey James,
a whole different future waiting.
Right? James,
yeah,
is it like that or not? Like, I know this is probably off topic a little bit to how Stan wants to talk today, because obviously Stan's idea about this part of it, but a lot of us remember Nelson Mandela dying, and then he became president, because then we'd moved on, or we were young, it just didn't remember it. A lot of people had these ceremonies at schools, and then he became president and died later on. So people do. There's like, you can't prove it now. But it happened.
Yeah, look, that's very valid observation, actually.
So that's not anything we're doing. That's what's happening to us.
Yes, that's right. So it's not known why Nelson Mandela was put in jail. Okay, 150 explosive devices were used, and he was.
We don't know if any of it's true anymore. That's what Astral was telling you about the news.
Yeah, unless you were there, you don't know if it was.
If you've read that in the paper, or if you've seen it on the TV, then guarantee, or not guaranteed, but you can pretty much bet your ass. Well, as long as I've got a hole in my ass, it's a lie, I would say.
Yeah, even Galileo, I used to hold 500 years ago, and I thought, you know what I mean? There's all kinds of court cases where they show that people were fighting against it in the 1800s, and I'm like, they rewrote everything, even the stuff we think is the truth.
It's a way to sway the populace, isn't it? You know,
that's why it's called
they see something in the
exactly.
They see something there, the headlines. It's like, wow, look at what's happened. You know, of course, it might not have even happened, but they put that in the headlines. Everyone sees it, and they all believe it.
It's the winner's story. That's what history is.
All I can say is that replicates the event in the mind of anxiety, because that's what the event in the mind of anxiety is exactly what you.
What I think James is doing is James articulates it. He's articulating what it means in an articulate way. That's what he's done.
Yeah, that's true. The revelation of the 8 laws is the articulation of the actual mechanism of the political sphere. And my contention is that the macro political sphere is really only replicating the interior micro political sphere, because it comes down to what is politically credible. Okay, and so how the macro get our attention is they replicate anxiety, because in the individual mind we think anxiety is politically credible, because courage acknowledges anxiety. So this is just a fundamental element of the wisdom of consciousness. We acknowledge anxiety because we immediately we like destroying problems. See, consciousness loves getting on a problem and destroying a problem, and that's the sport of consciousness. And so the macro keep replicating the function of anxiety, okay, to get political credibility.
Okay, James, stop there. That's enough to take on board as a sentence. That's enough. It is, because if you listen to it, you play it back, there's a lot of words in there. They got to take some of this in. But
yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot, and it's, you know, I can't make head nor tail of it, man. Seriously.
I understand what James is saying, but anyway, listen, we've got Stan on now. We've got other people, so James has made his point there. Stan, carry on with what you're saying then about what you think is happening. I mean, you've heard what James thinks. It's our consciousness being used. So what's your thoughts more on this?
Well, it's just a tough one to work out, isn't it? Some people you talk to and they're like human beings, and others are just like robots, just like they're not there. You know, just machines, go to work, buy more stuff, you know, just there's no thought process in any of it.
I want to say something so bad about this. Whenever I talk to people about it and I tell them the same thing, I get the exact same results. You know what I mean? I talk to them a few days later, and either they don't even remember, or you know, they're like, what? Oh, no, I don't know. I don't think so. But I changed my approach a while back, and I started just telling people, like, because, you know, everybody asks, what's it matter? And we don't like to answer that. We like to prove it. Well, I started telling them why it matters, and then I tell them I'm a flat earther. I just tell them I'm a part of a revolution that's trying to get free land for everybody, blah, 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 blah. And then I tell them that I also believe the earth is flat. Have you heard of people who think of that? And they go, yeah, kind of. I'm like, well, I just want to let you know one thing. Okay, you can look into it if you want or not, but we're legitimate. We're not trying to clown you guys, nothing like that. So just so you know, I'm one of those people you see on the internet. That's what I do. And it works pretty good, because afterwards they're like, oh, wait a minute. And then they start asking you questions. And the trick is, it's not even a trick. I'm sorry to say that word. But for me, my technique is, then they're curious, or they're not, but they always are like, oh, that's kind of cool. Because they think you have to address their two things. What is it about? And are you real? Because they don't think we're real, the people they see online. So that works pretty good for me, brother.
Well, I was speaking to a guy the other week, and I said to him, well, yeah, the world's flat, isn't it? And he went, yeah, whatever. And I was like, so how do you know it's a ball? And then he sat there and he was telling me this and telling me that. And I was like, mate, that's all things that you've been taught. You haven't gone out and done any of that for yourself. So therefore, everything you know, you've either read it or someone's told you it. You haven't not worked one thing out for yourself. So therefore, everything you know could just be lies. And then a week later, he said to me, he goes, I'll tell you what, everything I know just could be a load of bollocks, couldn't it? And I was like, yes, mate. And he was sat there, you know, you could see the lights were on and he was thinking about it. And that's, you know, but like, so I could say that to someone else and they'd tell me that. And then a week later you speak to them and they tell you, hey, you're talking rubbish. But why?
Again.
Why, you know, some people reset instantly and others it takes them like a lifetime or.
Do you think being a flat earther or waking up is the fact that it's about not forgetting things? Now we've got to remember loads of things because loads of things we're learning and looking into. So we can't forget. I don't know. But Rich, what's your take on it?
I think we're all remembering too much. We've all been taught to remember. We haven't been taught to forget about things. It's all right remembering stuff.
Well, when you go to school, you get graded on your memory. That's a memory test.
Yeah,
I like that. I like that.
That's what I'm doing.
You know what memory? You know what memory means?
Go on.
It means like what is it now? Oh shit, man! Now I've messed this one up. It's something to do with memory, to do with water retention. I remember.
Oh, I
think let go what you don't. Yeah, what you're saying is you want to let go what's not important, and so yeah, because I do that. I forget. I'm very aloof with a lot of things because I think my brain is just, I've taken the knowledge thing out to a great place, and there's all these things I don't care about or something, and I can't really recall. And it's like kind of silly things.
But men forget a lot of things they do. You ask women, men forget a lot of things. But I think what it is that Stan doesn't think this is a natural thing, do you, Stan? You think this is how people have been, what people have been turned into? That's what it's about, isn't it, for you?
I'm not sure if it's a consciousness thing. You know, if it's the unconscious just reset. If they're not thinking about the important things, or they're more, I don't know. Do you know what I mean? It's just a weird one. Like, you can, like I say, how long have I been going around saying about the 360 camera and the sky and everything? Been telling everyone, and you can tell them, and like I say, a week later they're back to the same old stuff. You know?
Yeah, James, you won't have seen Stan's videos. He's made some amazing 360 videos of tracking the moon and the sun, and you'd be mind boggled if you actually saw it, because then you'd realise that it's nothing the way you think it is.
You know, I've seen 360 vids. I know that.
Have you seen them in a VR headset?
No.
No, that's the next step. That's where everyone really needs to go to.
That VR, you know what? VR, the Matrix, plugging into the Matrix, that's totally feasible. And I absolutely think we should develop that as a means to look after the elderly. They think they've got no quality of life and they're bedridden and all that. Well, what if you could actually just give them that? You could actually make a person, you get this really, really old person, 85, 90 years old, 100 years old, and you can actually give them the experience of a 20-year-old.
Well, you can do that, yeah. But you can use it as a tool to work out where we are. Like, that's what we've been doing. We've been using it as a tool. Like collecting data, analysing it, looking at it, then putting stuff over it, then going back and looking at it in the VR sets. And you only get that sense of perspective from putting on the VR set. You won't get it off the screen,
Yeah, that's I can I'll go along with it, because the VR experience is very different from not VR. Holy moly, it's quite spectacular, really.
Hey Stan, I know that you've come on to talk about reset stuff. That's what the subject was to come on. But is there any way you could show us a little bit of your 360, those ones with music, so that people can just see the reality? Do you mind showing us, Stan? No.
Go on.
We've had some. It's really weird tonight, isn't it? Lately, that people get like having problems. No.
Well, I may say something about that reset. I think what I was saying, my aspiration and my trip to Auckland, this is about a reset. How this identification of how people use different groups use language differently, and if there's a means to make everyone use the same language, then we'd be actually one group. And so it would, because really the solution to the world where the world is, it has to be something everyone can embrace. Okay, it has to be something everyone can embrace. And I believe what I've discovered will facilitate bringing the wealthy back to the middle class by this memorandum of understanding, and to enable these different groups to start using the same language. Then we can actually go forward in a different way. We can perceive problems, we can perceive solutions differently, and we can have a whole different perception of the whole. And this language thing is key. It's because language is the means of expression of consciousness. And so while we've got different means of expression of language, we've got different consciousnesses. And having said that, I was just listening before, the use of language, according to the political consequences of anxiety, it manipulates the language, and then that changes our experience, and then that impacts our spirituality. Okay, so we might have a political situation where the consequence to spirituality is to retract and not have spirituality, right? Say, what is the spirituality of like anxiety, right? Which is pain, inflicting pain on other people, and so this making, having a means to get everyone to use the same language, okay, that will automatically they become the same group. You know what I mean? And so this is a flanking action on the political sphere to trick the people that are acting outside the majority into being in the same group, right, or on the same page. And so there you go. And so, because I'm super duper advocate of this reset, and I'll just say that as a kind of a statement, I'll say that I think there can be many perspectives of the flat Earth thing. My expression of it is summed up with a phrase: "It's not the elephant in the living room; it's that we're living inside the elephant," which is what I believe is indicative that there's this massive problem at a real fundamental level, and all of civilization has developed according to this.
Can I just say something, James? We understand what you're saying there. Being a flat earther, we know there's a dirty, great big problem.
Yeah, we can all agree on that, and I think we have different language. We have different levels of education. We have different vocabularies, and I've come along. I've been channeling consciousness a long time, and so my vocabulary is developed according to that. And but as you say, as we all know, many people are living in this bubble of the public education system and the media, and this constant ambush of a hostile emotional environment, actually. Okay, so I don't know. I really don't imagine what it's like growing up in a place like London, where the street like life is very, very specific. So I think my personal thing is any kid that grows up in town is thoroughly deprived of actual living, because people that grow up out on the farm, we have freedom of mind, we have a really engaged adult population of
what they've done, James, is they've allowed us to build our own prisons.
Yeah,
Apartments. You're good with words. Yeah, apartments, apart from everyone else. But anyway, look, Stan's back now. Stan, are you okay?
Yeah, I'm not sure when I'm there. It just turned off.
Okay, James, just watch a bit of Stan's work, right? And you'll be mind blown now.
Oh, let's hope it lasts. Because it might turn off. But yeah, this is what the moon's doing. This is the path the moon is taken.
Yeah, I've seen a bit of this on another way.
But this is filmed from within a VR headset.
All right. Yeah, I have seen this. I call it a historical survey. You know, this business of how the moon's happening. This is like, I call it a historical survey.
Do you see what's happening though, James? James, do you see what's happening? The moon is, or the sun, whichever one it is, they're coming out of the ground and going into the ground.
Right.
Because that's the perspective.
Sounds like the Book of Enoch. The Book of Enoch.
You know, I can see the value of it because you're seeing the whole progression. You're actually able to see its whole existence. You know, you can see its whole existence as a snapshot, and that adds value, man. That's a valuable thing to perception, eh? It's like it's having a better, you know, you're having a more comprehensive understanding of something by doing that, by viewing it that way. It's really, really cool.
This is the game changer. Everyone needs to see this in the headset. They need to see it for themselves, and then they need to go out and replicate it, i.e. putting a camera up, tracking it.
You know, it's interesting, man. But what you were getting there, the headset and the moon thing, this is actually what I've done with language. I've taken a VR kind of view of the way language exists. That's an interesting thing. You know, stepping way back and having a look at it, having a look at the forest and not the trees.
James, sorry to interrupt you. Stan is explaining here now. Stan.
Well, you've all seen it, haven't you? You all know what this is about.
Yeah.
You just need to see it. You need to.
I gotta say that is so cool looking, man. That is awesome. We gotta make that happen. That is so cool.
Yeah, this is old. Costa uploaded this video a long time ago. We knew about it and were talking about it.
So is this video, like you've got the video here, is this in one evening? Is this one sitting?
No, these are all different. This is Alaska. You see how much lower it is?
Yeah.
It's because the farther north you go, it rotates, comes down onto the horizon. And then when you go to the equator, or what we're calling the equator, is really where the sun and the moon come straight out and up and over your head. Set behind you. So that's how the ancients were navigating this earth. They were using the sky. And
yeah, they based their knowledge on that on that way of looking at it. Yeah.
See, if you were directly under the pole, this line would be flat with the horizon.
Right.
And then the pole star would be right above your head. Which on all the footage I look at is never right above your head. It's always just off like that. There's no one yet put one up that's right under the pole. Yeah, that's how the sky is working, and you can go out and test this every single day. I've had a camera running now on the roof for like 3 years, just every day recording what goes on. But this is just one day.
Just one day, right? Yeah, okay.
Yeah, this one. If you go back here. This one's
Just
my
to say
one.
that Dave Marsh. Just to say, Dave Marsh has joined us. Hi, Dave.
Hi, are you okay?
All right, Dave.
We're cool. We're looking at Stan's work.
Yeah, good evening, Dave. You all right, mate?
How you doing, pal? You all right?
Yeah, not too bad.
Good.
Yeah,
Is that Joey there? How you doing, Joey? Okay?
Sorry, I had my microphone muted. Hey, what's up, brother? Yeah, it's me. Aloha.
How you doing?
Fantastic.
Dave, just before Stan carries on, we've got Flat Earth Dude. We've got James from New Zealand. We've got Joey, Patricia, Stan, Astral, and the beer guy who you know, and me on the hangout tonight.
Cool.
But Stan is showing us his work. So carry on, Stan.
Yeah,
Finish
carry
your
on.
bit.
I'll be just popping in and out because I've got to do a few
But
things.
yeah, that was the that's a 14-day track. That is from the top of. You see my mouse? Can you see my mouse?
Yeah.
Yeah, from the top there down is 14 days, and then it takes another 14 days to go back up, and it just keep repeating. But the sun will take 365 days to do that. Or so we're told. I haven't actually checked it.
Yeah, I think it is right. Yeah, the moon crosses the equator 26 times more times than the actual sun. So yeah.
So yeah, but the sun's path actually does look a little bit when we watch the footage back in VR. It looks like it's got a wider band than the moon. Like it's a wider track in the sky.
Yeah, it is because the moon falls short 5 degrees either side of the equator. Yeah, where the sun gets pretty high on the Tropic of Cancer and low on the Tropic of Capricorn, the moon falls short of 5 degrees either side, so it deviates about 18.5 degrees either side of the equator, where the sun deviates 23.4 degrees.
Yeah, there's your tropics, and there's your equator in the middle of the sky. That's how it's working.
It looks like genuine science to me, mate. That's what
That's why I say you can go out there. I've had that. You see that camera there? That's the camera. I've just gone back up there and stuck it back up. I've got another 36. 32 gig. 32 gig card that's full up again, just empty it, and that fills up about every 2 weeks. And that's on a time lapse of every 5 seconds it takes a picture.
Do you upload all the video?
Yeah, I do. I get round to every one's on YouTube on my channel. There's a playlist called 360 Sky or something like that. 360 camera. Yeah, that I can show you.
So your one's called Scan Lines, is it?
Scan lines, yeah. That's what we're calling the tropics, is the scan lines. But there's a playlist there. Playlist of the moon, a playlist of the sun. There's one of some time lapses. I haven't quite sorted that out yet, but then here's the 360 that's on the road.
This is great, man.
There is 383 videos in there, and every one of these is 2 days. It's a 15-minute video. Well, most of the 15-minute videos are 2 days. Yeah, I'll play one. You can see.
I wish I had the time.
Well, it's not hard once it's set up, though. You just, push record, leave it for 2 weeks. The bum aches bloody loading it all up to YouTube. But
are they sped up? Do they play at a higher speed than?
Yeah, this is times 150.
Wow, yeah, cool.
So that's what I say. I take a picture every 5 seconds, and then it compiles it into a video. It was raining this day. Bit of a bad day to show you, really.
Now this is wonderful because you know the Earth is the most.
There you go. There's the sun.
All right.
So this is what I say. We're tracking it every day. But if you stick up a camera where you are, you'll see that it's rotated slightly different, and then you've got a different. Every camera I have is set on UTC time zone, which is the Universal Time Code. So if everyone does that, like everyone in my little group, well, not my group, but in our group, sets their cameras on that, so then we haven't got to do no working out from time zones. It's just, so at that time it was there for them and rotated like that. See what I'm saying? And that's how the ancients would travel this earth. They would have a timepiece set on one time, and then from that they would look at the heavens and work out where they were.
Yeah.
It's a lost art.
Yeah. Chinese invented it for themselves as well, using that means.
But this is the camera I use though, that tracks, you know, the sun, the moon, like the stars. Yes. You can track Venus on this as well.
Yeah, establishing longitude, establishing what longitude. That is the trick of what you're saying. That's the purpose of.
Yeah, but that's what you do with on the last video. You know, when I was showing you, let me get it back up. See, every day I'll do a time lapse, front and back of the house, just to show what the sky is. You know, what shit shows going on up there, and the chemtrails and everything else.
Can I ask you something, Stan?
Yeah.
What camera are you using?
Exactly. It's a 360 camera.
What's the brand? What's the brand of it?
Well, I've got 3 of them. I use a Panaview. This is the cheapest one you can buy. They're about 40 quid. And then I've got a Samsung Gear, the first edition. That's about, you can pick them up for like $100 now. And then I've got Fly, 360 Fly, which is another single lens one. Because you get dual lens, which is like true 360 by 360, but you get single lens, which is a 360 around, but you'll get like 220. You know, you don't get the bottom part. You only get the top part.
Can I just say something quickly? You're reverberating a bit on the Hangout when you're not speaking. Thank you, my darling. Sorry, Kenny. Joey, you need to go.
I love you guys so much. I got to get going. I'm going to still listen in, but I might have to leave the house. And in case there's another guest that wants to join, I don't want to take up the spot. But thank you guys for having me on, Karen and everybody else. I love you guys.
Aloha.
Love you too.
See you, Joey. Bye.
See you, man.
Bye, Joey.
See ya.
Right, back to you, Stan.
But, you know, we can work out everything from this. And these cameras, when we're sending them up, well, we're not personally, but when we're analysing the footage of people that have sent them up on altitude balloons, that's where we're getting a lot of interesting findings. You know, but we need more of it. So what I've been saying for a year now, like we need more people to like club together and do something of use, you know. You ain't just putting a camera up there with, you know, it's the wrong type of camera is useless. You need to have data collected footage.
Yeah, just to say to everybody in the chat room, whoever watches this, Stan would love it if everybody went and bought a 360 camera and then took the footage and then shared it with you. Yes, Stan, so that you could build this picture better.
Yeah, just, you know, like you're gonna have to no one's going to do it for us. No one's going to come along and go, well, yeah, we've been lying for years, and this is how it all actually is. And this is the true shape of the Earth and everything. It's not going to happen. Down to us lot. Goes back to like the anxiety thing again. Like, what you got to be scared of? Nothing. Just go and do it. Why save up for the new car or whatever? Like, what is like important? You know?
Yeah.
For me, it's finding out the truth. No matter how hard it is, you know. I wanted to know. That's why I've sort of gone to this lengths that I have gone to do the things that I've done.
I could say that consciousness is real and everything else is pretending.
Yeah. It's a consciousness test, isn't it?
Yeah.
How awake are you? How willing are you to do stuff to work this out, you know?
Are you still working with, is there Proxy?
Yeah. Been on the phone, been on a hangout with him for a couple of hours just before we came on air.
It's cool.
So you have his work. So you use his work and in your work together. So you can plot where he is, because he's in Europe, isn't he? And your work, but you'd like more people to do this, so that. Yeah,
this one's mine, but then this one's Dubai.
Yeah, I love that one.
You've got Alaska, and I forget half of them, but there's so many. Well, there's not that many, but there's too many for me to even remember where they were, you know.
Could you just show them again, Stan? Sorry, because I talked or did something and it didn't show the picture. You just went through them too quick for the camera to come back. Yeah, just say them again where they are, where these have been taken.
That's Alaska. You can tell because the tropics, as Dave calls them, have dropped.
Yeah.
Until you get them lines dead flat without a horizon, you're not at the pole. Or what we're calling the pole. Yeah, the higher up these lines become, these arcs in the sky, is the closer you're to the equator, or what we're calling the equator. See, like that one, that's the cosmic surfer in South Africa. Now his have rotated all the way over.
Yeah, you can see how high they go as well, can't you?
Yeah, so he's always looking up. You know,
yeah, so he's like seeing it at 90 degrees, I bet, sometimes, isn't he?
Well, not quite 90, otherwise you'd see it. You'll see one in a minute that's, I think it's Guam. Oh, hang on, I don't know if it's even on this video. No, I don't think it is. It's on one video at the end. But yeah, Guam, it comes literally up and out. Hang on, if I stop sharing this, I'll show you some pictures. So they're still on it.
You two probably talk quite a lot together, don't you, Dave and Stan? Because you're both cameramen.
Tell you the truth, I've been really, really busy. I mean, I know Stan wanted to have a chat with me, but I've been so busy. You know, like I'm working obviously opposite shifts. I'm working 6-2, 2-10 shifts. I've been doing a lot of street activism. I've been to Liverpool, been to Southport, been to Speaker's Corner in London. You know what I mean? So I've been really, really busy. And obviously squeezing videos in between then, and I'm working on a bit of a project now, tracking the sun, which is quite interesting. It's a bit like the moon race video, but with the sun. But obviously it's going to take a year to get all the data, because obviously it takes the sun a year to get from tropic and back. But
what date are you looking for then, Dave?
Well, really, what I'm doing at first, I'm doing what I basically did with the moon race video. I didn't really have a lot to actually build up on it at the time, but as you start gathering the data, you start pumping it into spreadsheets and things like that. Things start appearing. You know what I mean? Like with the for the moon race video, I would have never thought in a month of Sunday that I'd be looking at Kepler's law of planetary motion in regards to the moon. You know what I mean?
Hey, Dave, Dave, in case the people in the chat room don't know, what is it that you did with the moon race? Just in a couple of sentences.
So basically, what I did, I derived an experiment to observe the moon. So I waited till it was on the tropics, on the Tropic of Cancer, and I basically, it's quite a crude method, but I basically recorded it, entering my frame and leaving my viewfinder. And what I did to see if my readings were accurate, I actually went on to like time and date and measured the meridian passing on the night I made the observation to see how long the moon took to occupy that spot the following night. So I'd use that as like a time scale, if you know what I mean, to like give me like to see if my observations are matching up. And so then like a week later, I'd make another observation when the moon was over the equator. Yeah, and then make a similar observation when the moon's over the Tropic of Capricorn. And basically, I raced them against each other. I overlaid them on a screen to see which one were fastest. And every single time when the moon left the Tropic of Cancer and headed towards the equator, it was always faster there. So, and the meridian passing time on that night was always like round about 24 hours, 42 minutes, where normally, obviously, the moon's mean time is like 24 hours, 50 minutes. So, but when it was like on the Tropic of Cancer, it was taking like nearly 25 hours, and it was taking like 24 hours and 52 minutes when it was on Tropic of Capricorn. But that does change over a matter of time, what I found out recently, because you have to look at the various cycles of the moon. You've got the various cycle, what takes 27.3 days, but you've also got the animalistic cycle, which is 27.5 days, which just throws another problem into the equation then, because every so often that cycle is changing slightly, but it takes a long time for it to change. So it does appear that it's always moving faster on the equator, but that will change over a given time, I believe, and I'm just waiting for it to change. And another little experiment what I've been doing now, I've been trying to catch the moon at apogee and perigee, and I've got a tool to measure the actual circumference of the moon, measure how fast it crosses my screen, take all the data I can from it, and then compare it against when the moon's at perigee and see if there is any difference. You know what I mean? See if the moon is actually following Kepler's law of planetary motion.
That's what we've been doing as well with the P900.
Yeah, because what you need to, it's quite difficult to get your head around this, but from a globe perspective, the moon would appear to speed up when it's at apogee. Now, I try to give somebody an analogy on this because it's quite difficult. Imagine you was on a roundabout and you was going around the roundabout facing outwards, and I was running around that roundabout next to you. I'd look like I was going at the same speed. But if I slow down suddenly, I'd look like I'd be going fast the other way. You know what I mean? That's what the moon would do when it was at apogee. So it would appear to speed up in the sky. And when it's at perigee, even though it's supposed to be faster in the globe model, it would appear to slow down. Some people can't get their head around that, but it's quite difficult to explain. But that's about best I can explain it. I really.
Can you see that picture though, Dave?
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah, I think that's Guam, and that's the closest we've got to being like, you know, bang on the equator. That is the closest one so far.
Yeah, I did a moon stream on the summer solstice, smack bang on the equator.
But that's what the sun, you know, that, when you look at that in a VR, you see the tracks and they're pretty much over your head.
I actually pinch your color coding, Stan, and used it in my video.
Yeah, it's handy if everyone sticks to a code, though.
Yes, it is, and that's what I did. I used the exact same color code you used. I used blue for the Tropic of Capricorn, red for the Tropic of Cancer, and yellow for the equator.
Nice.
Dave.
Yep.
Don't you have an eclipse coming up pretty quick?
Yes, we do on the 27th from 9 o'clock onwards.
Baby, come on, man.
Yes, I'm going to
Skegness
to shoot it. I'm going to Skegness because that's if it's going to be clear anywhere, it'll be clear in Skegness because it dumps the rain on the Pennines. So hopefully on the east coast, rising over the sea from the east.
Oh my goodness.
Boom.
How exciting. Boom.
Yeah.
I love it.
Steve Myring's going to be coming with me. He's going to be filming the eclipse. So keep your eye out for that one.
You should. Yeah, most of you guys here should have it. I'm not going to see it over here in America. We're not going to get it.
No,
you say that. You might do, though.
Yeah, you might do. Because Stan got the eclipse, got the American eclipse, got the back end of it, didn't you?
Yeah, I got the sun eclipse, you know, and everyone was like, "You won't get it," but I went down there and I couldn't believe it. I was like, "I've got it! Go on!"
Yeah, I couldn't believe that. I was stood on a wall trying to get it. Yeah, and all I could see were cloud. It was really.
What day was it again?
21st of August, weren't it? The eclipse.
Yeah.
Was it?
I've got one in my book here, July 27th, and that's quite soon.
That's a lunar eclipse in a couple of weeks.
This is a lunar one, eclipse of the moon on July 27th.
A week on Friday.
Visible from.
That's what I was. Yeah.
It'll be the only day it rains.
Australasia.
It better not, I tell you, because it's going to be one of the longest eclipses
in Europe, including the British Isles.
Yeah, we get
the easternmost part of South America. The umbral phase begins at 18 hours, 24 minutes, and ends at 22 hours, 90 minutes. Totality lasts from 19 hours, 30 minutes to 21 hours, 14 minutes.
But even if they say you won't be able to see it,
we will see it.
See the moon. It's worth having a look with your cameras because there's a chance you will.
It should be rising at 2100 in the UK.
You'll see just the bottom. You know, you'll see just a portion of it happening. It's worth keeping a lookout anyway. It'd be interesting to see how far it can be seen from. You know.
Well, it says here that it can be seen Scandinavia, Europe, including the British Isles and the easternmost part of South America. Visible from Antarctica, Australia, Central Asia, Africa.
No.
Yes, I mean, if I'm pretty sure we're going to see it.
Yeah, 100%. I've already checked.
right, yeah.
Yeah, we're definitely sick. We will go. That's if it's clear.
It's just like, come to me, what you're doing is druidry. In this modern age, I think what you're doing is, this is druidry to do this. It's kind of what just came to mind.
What word did you say?
Druidry. You know, druids, pre-religion scientists.
Yeah, we know they are.
Well, this is modern druidry.
It's funny you said that.
I mean,
we're just looking for the truth.
This is right, and you know, I'm loving this. This VR, seeing this through VR, I think is a must-see. I think I can see that you presented on the screen.
But what we do, like the next one here, rotate that image until the lines are horizontal. And the amount of rotation you have to give it gives you your latitude. And your timestamp gives you your longitude. It's job done. So, you know exactly where you are, where that bit of land is, according to how the sky moves.
And you can only get that from the VR experience.
Well, from the cameras, yeah. You can't go out there with a compass and you can, but it's just why? Why do it when you can put one of these up and it's done for you?
Yeah, it only exists in 3D. It only exists as it happens. It doesn't translate very well to 2D, I think.
Yeah, you see these in the headset, and it's a game changer. You won't never look back. You'll be like, what was I doing?
Hey, this is fucking cool, man. Wow.
So
we're working on other stuff now that is going to open up other, other doors.
Hey, Stan, Cosmic Surfer's in the chat room.
Is he? Still awake? Time to get to bed. He's got work tomorrow.
Yeah, listen, guys, I'm going to have to go now because I've got to get up early in the morning for work. So I'll keep listening, but I've got to be quiet, obviously, and I'll doze off. But thanks for coming on, everybody, and have fun and be good.
Oh,
and hello to everyone in the chat. Yeah, good night, everyone.
Bye, Astral.
Good night, Karen, Patricia, everyone on the panel, and take it easy. Good night. Yeah, love you all. Good night.
Take it easy.
Yeah, it's 12 o'clock for Astral, and he's at work quite. Oh, that wasn't me. That was my dog. Shh. She made a funny noise there. He's got to be at work quite early tomorrow, so that's why he's gone. But Stan, what are you showing us now?
Well, it's just all the, you know, the pictures we got. This is Hawaii. That's another one that's real close to the equator. But we need more. You need a camera every mile. That'd be nice. Just map everything. But you don't know. You need one at the end. You know, land masses. You need to know what the shape
You'd be
is.
quite happy if there was one in every country right now, wouldn't you?
Yeah, or two. Two would make me happier, because then I can work out from the landmass where they are and twist the land to suit the sky. And how, you know, we don't exactly know how it would be moving around what map, let's say. You'd have to run things and then check things in. But it would definitely show if you were right or wrong. It's a lot of work.
They don't explain it to us like this, do they, Stan?
Well, you ain't got NASA's never showed you this, have they?
I mean, Dave Marsh has proved things as well by his research. So I'm very proud of you, and James, all of you. Like, it's like there's a 1,000-piece jigsaw puzzle. I've got 3 pieces on here today. Oh, all of us are the pieces, but you know what I mean. You're researchers, and wow, I love that picture.
I can see that. What
Yeah, I think that's the way forward. Like, because like what Stan does, he sticks to one aspect of it. You know what I mean? And like I've tried to stick to one aspect of it. If you start jumping around here, there, and everywhere, you seem to get a little bit lost. You know what I mean? You've got this project going on here, you've got something else going on over here, and you just get bogged down, and you end up like getting nothing done. You know what I mean? But if you just concentrate on certain aspects, like I've done, just on the motions of the moon, basically for like a year and a half, I think you've got a better chance of actually getting somewhere. You know what I mean? And what I do, I just draw my own conclusions from the back of my observations. Am I right? I don't know. But
you know,
after 2 weeks of looking at some of these pictures, it came to me how it was moving. For 2 weeks, I had it all in front of me, and still just spent night after night looking at it, thinking, what the hell's going on there? And then it just was like a light switch. Bang, that's how I was doing it.
That's why I call my presentation Moon Race Evolution, because it's not just the evolution of the actual moon race itself. It's like the evolution of me. I'm learning as I go. You know what I mean? I'm evolving. I'm learning new skills, camera skills. You know what I mean? Everything is like a steep learning curve. You know what I mean? You need to be going out of your comfort zones for doing certain things. You know what I mean? Like going out on the streets and talk to people about flat Earth. You know what I mean? You have to be out of your comfort zone.
You know, you're validating what I was saying earlier. My thing is, I'm coming from a direction where it's the language and the political experience which is causing this stagnant perception thing. And I'm saying if we change the language, we can actually change the perception, and then maybe this druidry is going to be of much higher value. Because while the situation is as it is with this, nobody knows what you're doing this, but actually this is the most obvious thing in the world, is what the sun and the moon are.
So this is what we've been doing. We've been time stamping it like this. So you got the year, then you got the month, and then the day, and then you got T for time. That's 10 o'clock. Well, that's UTC. That ain't British Standard or American. That's UTC. Then it's times 83, because that's the zoom moon percentage. If the percent is there, it's increasing moon. If it's this side, it's decreasing. You know, waxing and waning. And it's a sync with.
Is Sandra doing the pics as well? Is she doing the videos?
She has been. Luke has been. Z Proxy, Cosmic Surfer, myself, and there has been a few others, but that's been the main. Yeah, the main ones. This guy called Chris. He's been doing them. We need more doing this as well. How many P900s are there out there? And they're just sat there dusty.
There'll be none in September.
On the P1000.
Yeah.
Yeah, but the only trouble is I'm going to keep my P900 because it fits the moon to the screen.
It looks like the P1000 does, because it doesn't look like it's that much different really when you look at it.
I think that's the
3000 millimeter.
You push the button and it sets it to moon mode.
Yeah, it sets it to 2000 millimeter, doesn't it?
Yeah, it takes it to times 83.
Yeah, optical.
Yes, it doesn't zoom in. I don't believe, because otherwise, like I say, the moon would be too big to the screen.
Yeah, it just takes it to full optical zoom, doesn't it? Mine does it, but mine takes it to 1440 millimeter.
And this is what we do. We set it up on a tripod, get the moon, so it's going to pass through the center of the screen and just leave it to run. And this is like what you've been doing, Dave. So you get your speed, your size. You know,
why don't you take a snapshot at full optical zoom as well? And then what you can do at a later date, you could use a measuring tool like I've been using, and you can measure the circumference, the radius.
I do every time. I zoom in. Well, I take a picture straight away, like when the camera's zoomed right out, take a picture for a reference of direction and everything. Then I'll take another one zoomed in of the moon, and then I'll set up and record this.
Yeah, because like even from that data there, you can get the speed of the moon, you can get the circumference. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You could then go on to time and date and look at the meridian passing and test it on that night. You know what I mean? And on that night, you made the observation and use that as a time measuring tool as well.
So that's all we do, and then you can see the rotation as well.
Yeah, that's just the field rotation.
That does change the rotation.
Yes, it does. It does change, but it's just perspective. Yeah, it's just the camera is rotating. You need to rotate the camera with it to see it. It's called field rotation. If you imagine the moon was passing over your head, yeah, you would have to turn the camera around to face it. Yeah, it's not actually rotating physically. It's just
it's following the tracks. Is what it's
it's just they call it field rotation. It's just the field of view. Yeah, I did a lot of research into that when I see the moon spinning like a coin. I thought, why is it doing that? You know what I mean? It's supposed to be orbiting once every 27.3 days, but yeah, it's rolling like a coin. But it's just due to our perspective. I think Karen B did a video on the sun, tracking the sun spots, and she actually retracted that video because she understood what field rotation was, kind of thing.
That's what I say. It's when the moon is tracking up across them lines, and then it rolls. That's why you're getting that rotation with it.
Yeah, the only way you could stop it is if you use an equatorial mount. If you tracked it with an equatorial mount, it'd just like it's going straight across, like.
But then it wouldn't be showing. It would always be showing it going straight across your screen as well.
Exactly. Yeah, I had a run-in with a globularist, and I'd have to put my hands up to say he was right.
But he's wrong. He's like.
It's right in the respect that the reason why it rotates is due to the observer's field of view, but like it doesn't affect the shape of the Earth in the slightest. You know what I mean? There's no measurable curvature. That's it. So, but like I say, in regards to that, it's interesting.
Yeah, because it's going up. Yeah, it's rising, and some of them when it's setting, it's going down. That's rotated round. But if it was going straight across the screen, as you're saying, like he was saying, then it wouldn't appear to rotate. It's because there's a rise in the set. You know, that's what's showing the rotation. Really.
Yeah, I've got one over 8 hours, like from the first shot, from like I think it was like 8 p.m. something, right through till 2 a.m. on the hour, every hour kind of thing, and you can see it basically.
Yeah, I've done that many times, mate. Like syncs with people, you know. Like there's hours of footage in there, if you look on this playlist, and there's stuff that was before this playlist that's not in there. what's in there? There's 322 clips in there. But I think Cosmic Surface in the lead with like 600 and so.
It's crazy.
There's a lot of data there. But look, there's a lot of sync, and those things. All time stamped correctly and checked and rechecked.
Yes, there's some good data there. It is, you know what I mean. We're all going out of our comfort zones and, like, you know what I mean, pushing ourselves.
The last, I don't know how long, not that long really, 6 months or so. I've been doing the same with the sun, but I've only got 87 in there. But in some of these, you see the spots how they rotate the same. You know?
Exactly the same, yeah.
Mm.
Yeah, I put a little grid over mine and actually measured them. In fact, Karen B put the grid over for me and measured them. Like, well, I sent them her and she did the measuring for me. Like,
but there's hours there of footage as well. There's hours and hours and hours of footage. I think I'm over 2,500 videos now on YouTube.
That's just mad, that, isn't it? Yeah. I mean, my problem is now I'm on my own date. I'm on my own data now. You know, it's costing me like £100 a month because I refuse to get a contract. So I'm actually on pay-as-you-go data, and you know, when you're using your phone as a hotspot and you're plugged into your laptop and it does an update, it's like there's 20 quid gone in about 10 minutes. So it's a bit of a nightmare.
I hate that.
Yeah, it's a proper nightmare.
Well, we appreciate you coming on, Dave.
Yeah, I know it's a bit late, like, but obviously I didn't finish work till 10 o'clock and then I have to get home, have something to eat, and that.
I know maybe not right at this precise moment, but you're someone else that spent a lot of time and effort and hours of his life doing experiments.
Yeah, not only experiments. I've been out on the streets. You know what I mean. I've been to Liverpool.
Yeah,
on the street activism. Yeah, I'm out of my comfort zone. I feel uncomfortable. I don't like it, but you know what I mean. Challenge, and I'm doing it. Yeah, I've been to Speaker's Corner. You had people in your face screaming at you. I was in Southport 2 weeks ago, which went really, really well. I put a video up on, which is pretty good video. Like to have a look and watch at to see how we do some flat slapping. We like to call it.
I just want to say, again, you know, you need to say that it's druidry, because it is druidry what you're doing. It's scientific analysis, which is observation, right, of our relationship with our natural environment and these things in our natural environment and what they do. This is druidry. So to communicate with these uninitiated types, I would say that is something that is the truth, and because it is druidry what you're doing, and to let them understand what you're saying and what you're about, that would be something you could say. And I'm totally impressed with what I've seen. That I didn't realise this was happening. I didn't know this was happening. Great, man. Really, really great. Thank you so much for doing this.
Well, get a headset and then contact me, and then I'll bloody blow your mind again.
It's going to be something to see, all right. That will be very different than 2D. This is really fantastic.
I went and met up with the Plane Ranger. A Plane Ranger, Scott. You know, must know. And showed him in the headset, and John Smith and everyone. They had a look at it. And
if you talk about a reset, this is just exactly what is needed to have a reset, because you're enabling a real upgrade of the perception, right? And that is what we are all talking about. We're all talking about this. You know, we're talking about overwriting conventional wisdom, and this is a great asset because it is a real tangible new asset to perception. And this is, so I say the T-nil is the new intellectual landscape. Well, this is such a welcome addition to that intellectual landscape, having this composite analysis that we can actually see about something as common as the sun and the moon. This is amazing, man.
Well, you can just do it every day, can't you? If you're like, you know, you do it once and you think, am I really seeing that? Do it again. Do it every day. Do it for 200. You know, I'll do it for 2 years. Do it for 3 years. I'm leaving that camera on there until it's dead, and then I'll buy another one and put it up there. Do you know what I mean? Hopefully by then there's better ones, cheaper. Because you can buy real nice ones, but they're like $3.5 grand for something that'll watch the stars.
Yeah, but I mean that stuff will become cheaper, and you know, it's something. Imagine if this was in the average, you know, primary school. Well, not primary school. What if this was average secondary school activity?
It should be.
This is exactly what needs to happen in this reset. School needs to change massively. It needs to change fucking totally massively. And you know what? Recreating Druidry in the modern age, I was saying for quite a while with what I'm doing, I am the great Druid comeback. And that's exactly how I feel about it. Because of this hardcore, honest observation of our actual reality, which is the natural environment, the sun, the moon, magnetic fields, blah, blah, all that stuff. And but this is what I'm seeing is totally Druidry, man. This is so cool. And that's the thing I'd like to initiate with this political party is have education focus on that kind of science, which is actually really easy to engage with for even little school kids, because this gear you're using, you could get this gear for probably less than a new Xbox game, and this is what I'm thinking. And then even if there's one instance of it in one school, just one camera doing this in one school, that blows the mind of all the kids, man. You know, this is really fantastic. You know.
Yeah, and James, just on that one, because we haven't really heard very much from Rich here, the beer guy. Rich, just say a little bit to James what you're into then.
Yeah, I were going to say something then when Dave was speaking. We were on his data, and it's costing him lots. There's a lady in one of the groups that I know. She'd got she went into the O2 store, and she got like several mobiles and like iPads and stuff, and she got them all out on contract, and she used a direct debit from her hidden treasury bank account, and it just keeps direct debiting from that account, and she's just got a phone that she's not paying for, and it's using it from this account. And I spoke to her a bit earlier on today, and she's managed to get like 11 grand out of this hidden account that's linked to her national insurance number. I've got one sat in my PayPal that's linked to my birth certificate. Like, it goes to all your birth certificates and all that legal information being like a security bond, and they're actually opening bank accounts and using trading on these bank accounts, and they don't tell you that you've got them.
I've heard of this, man.
Yeah. It's the Treasury Direct accounts.
Yeah, now how the birth certificate is used on that side, the secret society side, you know, and the other subject in that realm, which is admiralty law. And this is, Benassi in Australia. He's said quite a bit about that.
Santos, you mean?
Yeah, Santos. Yeah, that's it.
Santos Bonacci, yeah. Carry on, Rich.
Yeah, carry on, man. Carry on.
Yeah. I'm just like looking into things like that, and I've been looking into doing a ecclesiastical deed poll form. That's to like basically say that you're a sovereign being and that you're alive, and you do a claim of life form, which is basically like, it's like a birth certificate but a real one, and you're basically giving yourself the allodial title to own the straw man rather than the government owning the straw man.
Yeah.
Or the legal fiction. And once this is coming from another guy in the group that I'm in, he's done all this, and he used a promissory note that he wrote out, and he bought like a pickup truck with it. And yeah, there's a lot of people that are doing stuff with that, and I think Michael Tellinger was one of the first guys that started talking about promissory notes, and he used one to discharge his mortgage on his house. Yeah.
I'll have to look into this.
Yeah, it gets really deep. It gets really deep. I've been looking at it for like 2 years now. But I'm just thinking, like, this is the one way that we can get back at them and like steal the rug from underneath the feet.
I was going to say John Harris, and It's an Illusion. That's a good one to watch.
Yeah.
He breaks it down really well, I thought.
What's that called again? Sorry.
John Harris, It's an Illusion.
Yeah, I'm just putting it into YouTube now.
It's like a 3-hour video you want to watch. There's like the 2 talks in that video, or 3 talks, and he goes deeper into it. Like, the more you watch it, it's good. I keep telling everyone about it. My mate the other day, he hasn't paid his council tax, and they summoned him in for council tax, him and his old dear. And when he got in there was some woman handing out flyers saying how it's an illegal tax, you're being robbed, this, that, and blah, blah, blah. And they all went in there and they got adjourned. And he come out, he rung me up straight away going, you would have loved it. It was brilliant. I come out of there feeling like I'd won. I sat there and I was like, yeah, sod the lot of you. And he ain't paid it. And he ain't paying it. And he said, I'm not going to pay it. He said to him, he goes, you just write down whatever you think I should be paying, because it makes no bloody difference to me.
Whoa.
Yeah. He said on the letter, it said that he was summoned to see a magistrate and going to appear in a courtroom, and he was charged £58 for hire of it. When he got there, it was a canteen in the courthouse, and when he asked the woman, are you a magistrate, she couldn't answer him yes.
Yeah.
He was like, so you're fleecing me 58 quid for nothing, and you're not a magistrate, so you can't fine me. That's a rubber stamp warrant, because no court in their right mind is going to put their name to it, because it's a fraudulent tax.
Yeah, and that comes back to this I found over the day. Administrative courts unlawful. Halsbury's Law, this is a law dictionary of England. Halsbury's Law. The law is absolutely clear on this subject. There is no authority for administrative courts in this country, and no act can be passed to legitimise them because of the constitutional restraints placed upon Her Majesty at her coronation. The collection of revenue by such means is extortion, and extortion has been found reprehensible since ancient times.
What did it mean?
I was going to say, look it up another channel called Crime Botch.
Crime Botch.
Yeah, there's the guy does all the police, when they're unlawful, and then he gets them like fined, and it's proper good. I swear it's called Crime Botch UK or something. I'm trying to find a video from it. I watched one earlier. Look back through history.
Yeah, put it in the chat room, Stan, if you can find it.
Yeah, so I can see, if I can say, there's a lot of the political on that relationship between them and us that would be the case.
That goes back to your anxiety, though. Why be scared of anything? Like you're
well, I'm saying, because of anxiety and how anxiety governs language, this is what's conceptualized a lot of civilization. It is things that reflect people believing that it is virtuous, and that's why it has conceptualized a lot of these pillars of society. And so even though that side of the fence, like as you say, you can petition in a special way, and then you can extract money from a bank account. See, they want to appear that they are actually really legit and good and benign and all these things. And so they won't challenge you about that, but they're relying on the fact that it's virtually secret, this relationship, and that they are a secret society and society doesn't even know. And but a critical point is that they would have so much wealth on that side of the fence. Money is not the thing. Taking money off people isn't the thing, like the £58. This is nothing. This is really only propping up a theatre that is for their benefit, that we believe in it, because they'd have so much money. The only value that they would have is the political, because money, they've got so much money now, they wouldn't even value money at all, or things, properties, houses, cars, any of that. But really, the political is the only thing of value that exists to them, and that's actually why this relationship exists, and that path that you've described, that's why that is the path, with that little flip-flop thing going on, where they don't mind you taking money off them as long as they can stay secret, you know. And this is the
explaining though, James, who are making it, who are using it now, so it's not as private anymore because these people are using it.
Well, in this reset, maybe with knowledge, and we can actually have that relationship evolve as well, and that can have an exponentially dynamic presence. Because my thing here is an amnesty, and it facilitates they are welcome to come back to us, and this facilitates that. And so that's why that's really important, I think, because you know what, they might as well be in a room, like they might as well be in a room with an Xbox, because all they're doing is playing a video game with the whole world, and that's the thing of the political thing, the sport of the.
Oh yeah, it's already worked out before we know about it, if you know what I mean, and we're just the little pawns. But can I just ask, the subject for this part was about have we been reset or resets? What's your take on that, Dave?
Well, something definitely happened in the 1400s. There was a lot of book burning going on back then, so I believe there's been some kind of reset, and we're definitely having history hidden from us. I think it ran about the 1400s. There's no books really from the 1400s, even though I've got one from the 1400s. But there's not many around from then. You know what I mean? When there was a lot of book burning going on in them days. So yeah, I think there's been like a reset. I think there's probably been a reset a few times. If you watch that documentary, The Matrix, it tells you there's been a few resets in there anyway. So
it does, yeah.
I think it's in Matrix 3.
No, a lot of in New Zealand, the experiences, they don't acknowledge history at all. In fact, we don't have any history beyond the political event, you know. And very crucial that they get rid of history to seem important, and that's exactly replicating the event of anxiety. Because anxiety, right, when you're under anxiety, you don't have any. There is nothing else. There's only this political construct. And this is why they need to eliminate history out of it, and making the Western world multicultural. Okay, you know, you look at the Catholic Inquisitions. You know, that's why I'm the Great Druid Comeback, because they murdered all their whole culture. They turned the average woman into a witch, and you know what? We need to bring this old history back, and saying Druidry, this composite representation of the life cycle of so that this is Druidry. We need to bring Druidry back as hard as we can, I mean, you say druidry, right? The elements of druidry. What does that look like in the modern age with all this technology around, with what we can actually invent? Where could we position our spirituality in relationship to the political if we actually do that? If we bring back druidry with all of the means of the modern age.
Yeah, but we've got a long way to go yet, James.
Hey, man, we've come a great milestone having this conversation, and that by perceiving this VR.
I'm really glad that you've listened, because you can see that other people are really looking into other aspects of this. It's all like a puzzle. You're part of a puzzle. I mean, look how clever you all are. Look how amazing you all are. All the things you do. I know that Patricia's a bit quiet, but she really helps me. And Flat Earth Dude, who's a bit quiet, he does masses of stuff with telescopes. He's like our cameraman, newsman. He's amazing.
Do you want to look at some Horizon 360 stuff? But...
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll be back in 2 minutes. I'm just going to nip outside to have a cigarette.
Oh,
right. Okay, Dave.
Right, give us 1 second. I'll get it up.
We need a rally point. We need a rally point, a very public rally point for all these people to come out, because this political environment for so long now, even hundreds of years, it has driven the thinking people underground, because consciousness has absolutely no value for anxiety, right? And so this is separating the two groups right there. And so just basically conscious people, right, which is us and everyone else, everyone's living in an underground experience, and they're keeping themselves secret. It's like, this is the relationship between those that are conscious and those that are unconscious. Okay, the conscious ones have all been living in hiding. And so having something that enables them to come out and have a rally point we can all agree on, this is imperative, man. And so that's what I've got here, my contribution. It is a rally point. It is a rally point to remove that jurisdiction off the spirituality, actually, which is what it is. Okay, because people with a suppressed spirituality have a compulsion to control other people. And so to change that political system, to change the language we use, which actually invents the political system, this is the thing. And you know what I'd do if I win the political party thing? I'm going to say in my policies of my political party, I'm going to say that I want to get every Caucasian country in the world, all the Caucasian peoples, to come out and become one people. Since the Nazi lefties,
James, yeah? We did this one before. I don't need to stop you there, but we don't want to. Don't go in. Yeah, just that bit. Don't go into that bit. Sorry, I really love what you're saying, James. I think that people, really listen to what you're saying. But Stan's got something up on his screen. Stan, what are you showing us?
Hello?
Yeah.
Yeah, if you put it up so everyone can see it.
Yeah, there it is.
Yeah, hang on, I'm lost. Yeah, everyone says that there's no horizon drop, but there is a little one. It's still flat, but there is a drop, which you sort of would expect. If you're coming up off a flat surface, something just dropping beneath you, it's going to be a drop because your eyes only see so far. But this is, you can do this all with so I'm stressing that, the importance of the 360 is you can go back and look at this all and work it all out. But there is drops going on. That's 6 side by side, so you can see the differences.
Dude, you're totally doing a service to humanity having done this. This is freaking me out, man.
Is it just by coincidence then, Stan, that there's these drops, or something else is going on here?
I don't know. Need more
You mean
data.
if they're supposed to be the same, taken at the same height, then all the horizons should be the
They're not. These are all different heights, but there's no consistency. But that's, I don't know if that's because their altitudes, you know, it's not correct, or we haven't done these. We've just looked at what they've done and gone, oh, we can work that out from, because it's actual raw data that they've uploaded. You can tell straight off the bat if it's been messed with, once you know how it works. This is so, like, to be able to fake a 360, you've got to know your stuff. You've got to know what I'm going to look for, basically. Or what Z's going to look for. You just tell.
I was around when you sort of came across that a few months ago, wasn't I? And you were like, look at this.
But we need more of it. We've got a couple more since, but not enough. Yeah.
I think people looking at that, though, Stan, it's just absolutely amazing what you've done. And anybody can do that, can they?
Yeah, anyone can put up a weather balloon. I've been looking at them, but I live on an island, so it'd probably land in the sea. If I lived in America, I'd be sending them up all the time. You know?
If they got their footage, they can send it to you, yeah? If anybody does get a 360 camera and gets
just
some
put it on
footage,
YouTube, send us a link. That's all you got to do. Put up your raw footage, send a link. You can have a look at it. But it's got to be a 360 or we won't bother.
How long does it take you to put these together, Stan? Or does it once it goes into whatever, or do you do it all manually?
Yeah, it's happening manually at the minute.
How long does it take you to do these, like those videos with the 360, like you did with the headset?
Well, it takes me about a few hours to make a video, but Z's been creating these images, and they take, you know, he had to create stuff to be able to do what he wanted first. He had to write his own programs to be able to, because there's nothing out there, no one's doing this, are there? That's what we're doing. You know, that's what we're working on now, is the next step, which is another program, so we can look at stuff in more detail.
I think you're proving probably that it's probably really easy to reset us, isn't it, all the time, and that we're living in that kind of life, because they haven't told us the truth about anything. They're lying about everything. So it's
like
easy
I say, some people, you tell them about this stuff and they just forget about it. It's like it didn't happen, you know, instantly. It's just like, gone. Horizon doesn't drop. Like that. No, right, that does look.
I don't know what that means. They're all on different days, though, aren't they? They're not all done on the same day.
No, they're in different countries, different times. That's what I mean. You need a weather balloon or something like a drone or something that's just sat there all day. Altitude, set altitude, and then you move it to another altitude, and then move it to there, down. You have another one above it doing the same thing. You know, that's a big job. But this is the stuff that's most interesting in me, anyway.
Yeah, I don't think there's anybody else like you doing this, Dan. There's no one like
it's just observing what is actually there. What are you actually seeing?
Yeah, this is the perfect brain food for a child, eh? This is perfect stuff.
My child would probably look at this and not think about certain things that we're thinking of, and they might have a totally different answer.
Well, this is true, but I mean, it's a very dynamic thing to see, to witness this measurement. You know, it really brings to life the character of our natural experience, you know, with the sun and the moon. And these are kind of tangible things that the young mind loves. And it's science. It's actually real, true science. I think this is, I'm really, really impressed with what I'm seeing here.
Yes. That's good. That's what I was hoping for.
Yeah, I found it a little bit frustrating though, haven't you, Stan? Because you so want everybody to buy one of these cameras.
Well, it's just you need to see this stuff. It's more you need to see it in the headset, and then it's a totally different experience. You'll be.
Jesus fuck. You know how that fucking is a wicked thing you're proposing there, Stan. To see this kind of data through the VR, that's.
It'd be nice to have a room full of people, like everyone in one room, and just have the headset there for one day and just pass it round to everyone and go, right, now look at this picture, now look at that picture, now talk about it, you know, and just pass one round. Like, that's what you should do, like, you know, at these talks and whatever else. If you know
that experience, man, I'm just thinking, would that be actually very close to actual magic? That moment you actually experience that for the first time through the VR.
It's like black magic, really. It's like, you know, you could use it to. It could be the worst thing in the world, like the internet, or it could be the most cleverest thing in the world. It's how you use it. If you use it correctly, it's a great tool.
So we could say then, flipping it over, we could say that this event of perceiving this through the VR, this is really speaking very closely to how consciousness functions, how consciousness operates, the kind of way that consciousness actually computes what we're going on, the function. This is something that is actually more fit for purpose.
Well, for us, we see a problem, right?
Yeah.
So we're trying to solve the problem. What the hell is actually going on? Not this is how it is because this is what such and such said. It's like, I don't believe it. I want to know for myself what is going on. You know?
Yeah, and you only know when you've done it yourself, you know, like Dave done on his moon race.
Mm.
It's easy to, yeah, you've got to do these experiments, some of these things yourself, haven't you?
Exactly. Like Dave wouldn't know what he knows unless he has done what he's done, you know.
Same for James. Same for
everyone,
Rich,
you know.
Yeah, just to let you know, I'm back. Just interestingly, I've just gone outside and looked up, and the ISS has just flown over. It's funny. Yeah, seriously, I actually caught it on camera. I only got it on my phone though. Talking about it with someone earlier on today, saying like, "Oh, I wonder when the ISS is coming over," because I was looking through Stellarium at something, and I see it shoot past the screen dead fast. I thought, "Oh, I've just seen the ISS on my screen, like," because I had it on like fast forward. And I'd just gone outside for a cigarette. I looked up, and there it was, flying overhead. So I got Stellarium out and looked up, and it was actually on the Stellarium light. So I just took a little video of it. It was only a white light.
And your phone can pick it up. Your phone can pick this up.
Yeah, like I say, it was only like a white. It's about as bright as Jupiter, I'd say.
Wow.
Yeah, it was interesting though, because like I say, it's weird because I was just talking about it like about an hour ago, and then like I said, I've just gone outside and it's just flown overhead, or whatever it is. I don't think it's a space station personally, but
no, we've both done our little videos on that, haven't we, Dave?
yeah, I've made about 3. I just brought another one out called Issa Shenanigans. If you get time to watch it, Tim Peake's up to no good, snorting something under the table. You'll have to watch it. It's quite interesting.
Say that again.
Tim Peake. It looks like you have to watch the video. If I share the screen, I'll show. Let me just find the video and I'll show it you. So I think I've got it on my computer.
Okay, just in case you show the link, I'll just put it on Stan's amazing work.
Yeah.
There's not really any words to say. I just don't know what to say, especially like the one that's 30k kilometers, and that's the biggest one. Yet one at 40 is less. You know,
but less. I'm not sure if that's actually correct. We've got to bear that in mind. That's what we were told. But it's not making no sense no matter what way you look at it yet. It needs further.
I think also we had we were talking to somebody who made the Rife, well, is selling the Rife machine, and she said to me she didn't really want to go that public because if you go that public, they'll try and shut it down. So I just think that all the things that are really good for us, like this Rife machine, which could every hospital should have, and it would save people's lives, should be everywhere. And there'd be no medication. You just have this machine. They just try and cover it up, like not many people understand your 360 stuff. Not many people have heard about it, Stan.
Yes, I'm still trying to explain people the lunar lemur. If you haven't watched my presentation, you probably won't know what I'm talking about. But watch it, and you'll. I've got an interesting theory on the motions of the moon, north and south. So,
is that the video then? You've got it there, Dave.
Yes, I've got the video up. I'm just ready to press play. Is it on the screen? Because I can't see anything else.
Yeah, go on then.
You'll have to play some music, man, so it zooms up.
I think he's probably got music playing his end, but he's playing the video, so we don't hear it. But what bit are we waiting for the most, Dave?
Can't you hear the sound?
No.
Well, I've clicked on your little box there, and it's come up. That's really cool. That does that.
Right. What I'll do, I'll cheat. Yeah, I'm going to feed the sound through the headphone.
Okay, we can just about hear you.
So there's a little arrow box thing on the image of our face things, and I've clicked on that little arrow, and it's come up at full screen.
Yeah. It doesn't make any difference to the volume. We still can't hear the volume or anything, Dave.
Okay, yeah, that's a shame.
Just talk us through it then.
Right,
but come back, because you're more muffled at the moment.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, we can hear you now. Just put it back on.
So basically, what I did, I found a video of Tim Peake doing a somersault. So what I did, I re-edited it and make it look like he's snorting something from down below. Then when he sits up, he starts going like, "Oh, I'm still dizzy" and all this. And I slowed the sound down to make him sound like it was a bit slurred as well. So it was just a piss take, really, of Tim Peake. That's all.
Oh, okay then. Well, we didn't quite.
Is it on my screen?
Yeah, your screen's up with all sort of things on it, files and stuff.
Yeah. I think I'll just take this opportunity to show you what I've just been working on over the last few weeks then. Because me and Jenna Fredo made some observations of the sun. And what we did, we're trying to collate as much information. It's a bit like the moon race video. You know, the moon race video I did. It's a little bit like that, really. So let me just find it. Here it is. Go back one. Yeah, so you'll see basically you've got my sun and you've got Jenna's sun, and we basically race them against each other. This is when it was high on the Tropic of Cancer on the summer solstice. Yeah. So it's very similar to the moon race type video. But what we've done, you see, we've collected loads and loads and loads of data. So we've got like a timestamp image. We've actually collected metadata. Yeah. Not only one lot of metadata, we've actually collected 2 lots of metadata. So we've got all the information about the camera there as well. We've got a timestamp image. We've got a circumference of her image. Got the radius of the image. Obviously, we'll be timing it across the screen. Then if you go to my observations, what you'll see, I've done all my readings are similar. So I've got a timestamped image. I've measured the circumference in pixels. I've got my metadata. I've got a second lot of metadata to back the first lot of metadata up to confirm everything. You know what I mean? What we're basically doing, we're just showing you that normal people can gather a lot of data. You know what I mean? We've got time and date readings. We've got the time it takes the moon to travel in the sun to travel in degrees from 2 points between 12 hours. You know what I mean? We've measured that gap. So there's loads and loads of data you can collect. Yeah. And this is like going to be like a year-long experiment, because we have to do it when it's on the tropics, when it's on the equator, and obviously when you've got the spring equinox as well. So it's going to be like a very, very long 4-part video, and then like probably do like a conclusion video to end it.
I was going to say, there's all that data there that I've done as well with Sandra and Cosmic Surfer, Z, loads of others. As you can see, we've got like a compass reading just to show that the app is pretty accurate. You know what I mean? Point the compass north. It's about 1 degree out, but there is a 2-degree declination in the UK. So, like I say, there's Jenna's compass reading. That was a really difficult reading to get that because of the magnetic declination in Buffalo, New York, is like 20 degrees west. So to get that there, it's really, really difficult. You know what I mean? But like I say, you can see how much data you can just collect. You know what I mean? We've got like we compare the readings, you know, the actual theodolite readings. Compare them with mooncalc. Yeah, see when it rises, when it sets. There you can see it. That's like over a 12-hour period. What I do then, measure how many degrees it covers in that period, and compare that against my readings to see if the sun's traveling further from her perspective. There's so much information you can get from this type of observation, and especially when the fall comes and we do the exact same readings again, shooting at we can't shoot at the exact same zoom. I'm shooting at 1440 millimeter, which I'll show you on the metadata here. Well, I think this, yeah, this is for Jenna's. If you look there, the focal length is 1400 millimeter. Then if you go to my readings, you'll see that I'm shooting in 1440 millimeter. It's nearly identical. We can't get the camera the same because I've got a Nikon Coolpix B700 and she's got the P900. But what we found out is, if you look at the actual sizes, yeah, mine measures 235 pixels. And from Jenna's perspective, hers measures 234. But obviously she's shooting at a slightly different focal range, but you can see it's very, very accurate. You know what I mean? And it's uncanny when you watch the actual the moon race, the type moon race. What I did, well, I call it moon race, but it's like a sun race, really, isn't it? A soul crossing.
The sun race.
Yeah, so like I see, I've overlaid them there so you can see them where they go across the screen, and they basically go at the same speed, exactly the same speed. So it's interesting.
Dave, if you click on one of your pictures with the right button, like no, go to someone, go. What one were you on there? Yeah, that one of them. Go click on with the right. Is that a raw one? The first one, that go on the one next to
the actual raw. That is the actual raw image. That one there.
Yeah, go properties at the bottom. Go details. It tells you there what it was taken with and everything.
Yeah, it does, but that wouldn't look very good on a screen on a video. You know what I mean?
No, but I'm just saying, like you have, like just so you can confirm that was the correct one.
Yeah,
you
I know
can
that.
double check
yeah.
it. Yeah.
But like I said,
that's what I do. Everything.
It just shows you how much information you can actually collect. You know what I mean? We're not scientists. All we've done is just basically got our heads together and just like collected as much information as we can.
I think you are kind of the scientist of today. Thank you.
This is science, man.
Yeah, so keep your eyes out for that, because I'm actually learning new techniques on video editing as well. You know what I mean? The video, putting the video together, I'm using like animated overlays and things like that. So it's pretty good.
Well, you're doing a great job, man. I can't thank you enough. It is absolutely.
Yeah, Dave, this is like you're doing exactly what we're doing, but with a different camera, mate. But
yeah.
This is how I do it. I take a picture, you know, once, and then another picture, and then I'll take the video, like a video, and then another picture. You know, if you look, hang on. You know, I'll take a picture, a video, and then this is the next video. You know. And I'll put it all in. I've got it all on a hard drive because obviously I ain't got enough room on the laptop to bloody store it all. But there's an 8 terabyte hard drive that's got 5 terabytes now on it. So this sort of stuff.
Am I sharing the screen?
Hang on a second. Just gonna. You're not sharing the link, are you, Dave?
I don't know because I can't see.
You're not now. Yeah, that's okay. I think you were just a minute ago, but you're not now.
Right. Okay. It's just that I can't see. That's all. I'll leave it on that screen for the time being. I'm not sharing the screen now, am I?
Yeah, you should. Oh, well, okay, hang on. Just put it on Stan.
Right,
you're still sharing, Dave.
I'll see what you're doing.
That's it. I stopped sharing now.
Okay.
Yeah, same stuff, different camera. You need to get yourself a P900, Dave.
Yeah, I'm like I say, I'm happy with the camera I've got. It's done everything I need it to do. You know what I mean? It's been a good camera. You can
prove a point with any camera, can't you?
Yeah, like I say, it'd be nice to get the exact same focal range, like, but even so, just being that little bit high, it doesn't really make that much difference, to tell you the truth. Well, it's 1 pixel difference. So yeah, but it's interesting how much data you can actually get, and it'd be interesting to see how much data we've got, you know, when we actually finish the observation, because then what we'll be able to do is start like pumping it into like spreadsheets and things like that, because I've already got pre-made spreadsheets from my moon race observations. So you start pumping the information into them, then someone might come out and buy on the backside, you know what I mean?
Just taking the time, or someone having the time to sit there and look through it all. You know, they could look through all yours, then look through everyone's, and just stick it all in these spreadsheets. Then you'll see what is happening.
Yeah, like I say, it's I used to joke about the reason why I did it with the moon is because obviously it gets from tropic to tropic in 2 weeks, and you have to wait 6 months for the sun. And now I'm actually doing it with the sun and having to wait 6 months for it to get from tropic to tropic. So it's quite funny, really.
That'll look fantastic when you finish, man.
Well, hopefully you have the 360
some stuff to back it up as well.
Yeah, that'd be great. Yeah, that'd be great.
Yeah, maybe you two need to have a bit of more of a talk with each other.
Yeah, we need to add each other on something though. So
Yeah, I added you on YouTube.
Yeah.
So maybe you should get on Facebook, because I spend most of my time on there.
Yeah, I did Twitter, but I haven't done Facebook yet. You can see me on Twitter now. It's Stan360 Smith.
Is it? I'll look for you then, because I just need to reinstate to do a factory data reset on my phone, because it kept like burning my hand because it kept getting really hot. So it was on 80% when I plugged it in. Like it's on 30% now. It's on charge, so it's actually losing charge while it's plugged in. It's because I'm using it. I'm using it as a hotspot, you see, and it's getting hot as well.
That's a hotspot, mate.
Literally.
Dave, I've got an app on my hard drive. You plug your phone into like your laptop or computer, and you can hide your tetherable data. It doesn't take any data off you whatsoever.
Doesn't it?
Yeah.
That'd be cool.
Yeah.
You'll have to send it us, mate, because like I say, I'm spending £100 a month minimum at the moment.
Yeah, that's ridiculous.
Because I refuse to get a contract.
Yeah.
Yeah, Orange keep tempting me like with like 3 days free for a fiver and things like that, or 24 hours free data. You know what I mean? Then you get that, then it's gone. Then you went, I need more data, I need more data. And another 20 quid, and another 20 quid. You get 8 gig for 20 quid, and it's gone in like 3 days.
Fuck that.
But yeah, you'll have to send us that, and I'll have a look at it, because I was going to get one of them 3 contract, not contract, but 3 do unlimited data. But I think there's some kind of clause in it what stops you having unlimited data, because there's like a fair use, isn't there? They have a fair use policy.
Yeah, that's the same contract that my friend got, and he was the one that showed me the app.
Oh, cool. Yeah. Yeah, you have to send it us, mate. I'll drop you my email afterwards, and you can send it us, and I'll try it, and I'll let you know.
Yeah, no worries, man.
Cool. Right, I'm gonna have to shoot because I've got to be up early in the morning because I start work an hour earlier.
Oh, thanks, Dave. It's been great having you on. It's been a while since we've been on a hangout with you, and I love all your work.
Yes,
also met you, and you're a lovely person too.
Yes, look out for me on Sunday because I'll be at Speaker's Corner again with Ruben and Roxanne. We're doing a bit of flat smacking down there from 12 o'clock on Sunday.
Brilliant. Roxanne was supposed to come on today, but she had internet problems and just didn't get onto the Hangouts.
Yeah, I forgot to tell you, Stan, as well. I bought one of them Zyhern Smooth 4, you know, the phone gimbals.
Yeah.
I bought one of them, and it's quite good actually. You know what I mean? It gives you a nice smooth tracking and all that on the camera, and you can track it on certain objects as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, quite good.
Yeah, I kept looking at a gimbal for my phone for filming stuff and that. But
yeah, I thought I'd treat myself for it, and like I say, I use it to shoot my first video in Southport, and it worked out really well.
Nice.
Yeah.
Need to buy have a look, Dave. In all seriousness, you can get Samsung 360 cameras now for 55 quid on eBay.
Yeah, I was looking at the Garmin one.
Yeah, that's the one you want, but
the Verb.
Yeah, Verb. That's in my watch list now, but it's like 500 quid. I think
it's like 550 quid, like, isn't it?
Even at that price, though, it is tempting, you know, for the quality of footage. But yeah, for a Samsung Gear now, 55 quid. I've seen them on there, like used ones.
That's cheap.
Get one. Do you know what I mean? For them, you can use one as a football. Do you know what I mean? For that price.
Yeah, I'm definitely going to get one because I've been thinking about it, but I really do want that Garmin one, and I had the money to buy it a few weeks back, and I talked myself out of it. So,
no, well,
I'm gonna get one.
Yeah, get one definitely, mate. Because my gear the other day, we had a lightning storm come through, and I was like, you can buy them now because I paid like 200 quid for mine back in the day. And I just thought, you know what? I don't care now about it. It's going out in the garden in the lightning storm and put it out there on a pole on top of the bloody shed, filming the lightning. And it survived. Still working. So, because they do say they're water resistant, like you don't need a case for it. So
I can't wait.
Yeah, just 50, like, you know, under $100 now. Get one.
All right, Dave. Well, thank you, man, for all you're doing, and have fun out there flat smacking and
you sound like you're on the moon.
The truth. I
think
might be on the moon.
Car probably on doing it from that. That's what it is.
Yeah, okay then. I'm going to shoot because it's late and my mum's in bed.
All right, man.
Thank you so much, Dave.
Take care.
Tell them good, Dave.
Cheers, Dave.
Have a good evening, guys. See you, Karen. Bye-bye, all.
Thank you, my darling.
Bye-bye.
Bye, darling. It is gone 12 o'clock now, 12:15 for us. I mean, I think maybe we probably should wrap up. I think Stan will probably want to go to sleep soon because he works really hard, don't you, Stan? And you're always busy. Just a few exiting words. Obviously, Flat Earth Dude, did you enjoy today?
That was amazing. I can't wait to go explore Stan and Dave's work a little bit more. I think they're doing a great job. Thank you, guys.
Yeah, thank you, Flat Earth
And
Dude.
I also gotta explore James's work. I gotta spend a couple of months getting my head around James there, man. And
subscribers while we've been talking. No,
it's funny.
2 more subscribers, so that's really cool.
And then the beer guy, man. I love being sovereign, man. Who doesn't love that? We all want that. All right, I'm gonna mute. Go ahead.
Thank you, my darling. James, do you want to say a couple of words? Couple of words, James.
Really fantastic to see what Stan's doing. This is amazing to me because it's really druidry, and that's really the perspective I have of reality, that I should achieve this discovery and this knowledge. It's really the druidry thing, and actually going more into that, it's actually a matter of our actual true spirituality. It's creativity and knowledge. This is our true spirituality, and to have that now, I'm going to get a VR set, man. That is just, I know that would just be a really unreal experience. And it came to me to think that it's actually in how that would present that data in a VR setting. This is actually very much better according to how consciousness thinks. This is representing information in a much better way than language does. And this is really this is amazing. Beer guy, man, I'm totally, that's, see, you said that about the bank account thing, right? So how that Rife device, they come along and just take it off people. According to the legal framework of the bank account thing, I think we can actually stop them from messing with people with this new technology. We can actually put our foot down according to the legal framework they have about that bank account thing. That's a speculation I'll make right now. Mate, coolness, man. Been good to hear what you've said.
Cool. Thank you, James. And thank you for everything you said earlier on, James. You've given people food for thought. Thank you, James. Stan?
Yeah.
You've got a last few words. Thank you so much for showing your videos. You've mesmerised Flat Earth Dude and James, who haven't seen it before.
Nice one. Well, yeah, I'd just like to say to everyone, get a VR set, get a camera, stop resetting, and if you've got the time or the facilities, watch Westworld. Because I'm starting to watch that, and that goes into a lot of this, it says about the resets. It's a good watch. I don't normally watch TV at all, but I've started watching it.
Thank you, Stan. And it's really nice to come on a hangout as well, because you've not been on many hangouts lately, have you?
Well, I've been really busy doing stupid work stuff that you shouldn't have to do,
Work, 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 and no fun. But thank you so
I'm
much.
having a bit of time now, so yeah. Cheers, Karen.
And you know that I always like you talking about that 360 stuff. It's amazing. I'll just say Patricia if she's there, but I don't think she's probably gone to sleep now. It's a bit late for her. I'll say her name and maybe she'll unmute. I don't think she's going to. But then, Rich, any words from you?
Yeah. It's been a good night. I've heard of what everyone's got to say. I've enjoyed myself. Yeah, some really cool stuff going on.
There is, isn't there? We're all amazing.
Yeah, we're all coming together. I feel. I reckon it's the only way that we can be. And there is going to be remedy and solutions for things that are going to be coming up.
Yeah, and so thank you for all your work. I'd like to say thank you to everybody on the panel. We'll say goodbye off air, but on air we're saying good night, and thank you to everybody in the chat room. And we're back tomorrow. Tomorrow we've got Martin Kenny coming on. Dave Marsh met him obviously because they were speakers at the convention. And Rich, if you want to come on tomorrow, come back tomorrow. But it's good night, good afternoon, good morning from us. Thank you to everybody that's been on the panel. Astral, Dave Marsh, Flat Earth Dude, James, Patricia, Stan, and the beer guy, Rich. Thank you so much from us. Big Flat Earth hugs. Mwah. See you tomorrow.